The powerful, confident woman knows how to flirt, and it makes my blood boil. University student Guci was on his way to the airport to pick up his sister-in-law when, as the husband of a powerful woman, he went to the hospital to accompany a childbirth. He was honored to witness the arrival of a little baby and, in the process, met the current female chairman of the largest film company, Shi Qing. He thought their fate would end there, but at a family banquet, they met again. In the men's restroom, Shi Qing pinned Guci down. Don't move. If you don't move, it won't move. Chapter 1, Pretending to be their husband to attend the birth. In the evening, in Liecheng City, V-City, at the International Chicken Market. A woman with long, smooth hair swayed in the wind. Among her black locks, a streak of purple was dyed. She wore a coat that highlighted her elegant demeanor, dark purple sunglasses, and sneakers, pushing a suitcase as she walked with confidence. Her round, cute pregnant belly followed, adding to her commanding presence. After getting off the plane, she walked outside and got into the driver's seat of a black Ferrari. She removed the purple-dyed wig, tossing it to the passenger seat, took off her coat, and lowered her pants a little to give more room for her belly. She sat in the driver's seat, looking at her phone with a serious expression. On the screen, there was a game of Pictionary, and she was already firmly in last place. Frustrated, she exited the game and saw a friend's avatar at the top of her contact list marked as offline. She sighed. It seems like I should have let him come with me after all. Beep beep, the phone rang. She answered the call and placed it on the car's phone holder. President Shi, you should have landed by now. I'm sorry to disturb you, but that male actor you worked with last time called again. He wants to have dinner with you and talk about the new movie. His popularity has been rising recently, and it seems he is trying for the lead role. How should we respond? Listening to their voice on the other end of the line, Shi Qing's face showed no change, only slightly parted lips as she responded. Climb. After that, she hung up and started the car. Outside a certain art university in Liecheng. Ding, the phone vibrated. The vast horizon is my love tilde. A young man, wearing a white shirt splattered with colorful paint, with messy hair tousled by the wind, and a silly little tuft of hair swaying, was eating fried fish sticks. He wore a small watch on his wrist and casually used his free hand to answer the call. Yo! Kid, are you free? Near the airport. Help your old man pick up a VIP. Their voice on the other end emphasized VIP. I'm not free. Guci turned around and bought a sticky rice dumpling, eating it with relish. There was a kind of naive and clear foolishness in his eyes, typical of a university student. Little brat. You can't be serious? When I sneaked off with your mom to donate sperm last year, I wanted to hit you. Hurry up and go. I was contributing to society. Besides, it proves your son is healthy and has an advantage in the future. Guci said, feeling thirsty. He bought the largest bottle of iced Fanta and drank from it. Forget about contributions or whatever. If you kill your dad, you'll end up in trouble. Hurry up and go pick up your aunt. Aunt? Where did I get an aunt? It was a few years ago. I adopted a sister. Didn't I tell you? You didn't know. Upon hearing this, Guci fell silent for 2 seconds. Dad, you wouldn't betray me and mom, would you? Little brat. The person on the other end sighed, then spoke in a warning tone. If it weren't for the fact that I'm busy with my clinic, do you think I'd need you? Your aunt is coming back alone from abroad, and she's pregnant. I told her to wait for you at a cafe near the airport. You need to go and bring her to our house first. Oh. Fine. Guci had no choice but to hail a taxi and head for the international airport. After getting out of the taxi, he looked at the location sent by his father on his phone and followed the direction of the arrow. At almost the same time, the black Ferrari was heading for the same destination. There was a long crosswalk ahead. Guci glanced at the green light and walked forward, looking at the navigation on his phone. In the next moment, the green light started to blink. Guci was still looking at his phone when the light turned red as he reached the middle of the crosswalk. Seeing the cars moving, the woman in the Ferrari continued driving forward, enlarging the navigation map on her phone. Suddenly, a white figure entered her line of sight. Screech. She slammed on the brakes instinctively. Bang! A car rear-ended the Ferrari. Shi Qing's pregnant belly hit the steering wheel. Noticing something was wrong, she looked down and saw hot fluid leaking. Her heart raced, but she quickly calmed down. At that moment, the driver of the car behind, seeing that it was a Ferrari, happily ran up to the front and pointed at the car. "Hey! How are you driving? Get out and see what you did to my bumper. You're responsible, right?" Shi Qing lowered the window a little, took out a stack of bills, and handed them to him. He happily accepted the money but still sternly added, "What about the compensation for mental distress?" Hearing this, Shi Qing shot him a sharp look through the gap in the window. "If it weren't for my pregnancy, I'd have you pay for medical expenses too." Her warning tone and the fact that she was pregnant made the driver back off, turning to leave. Not far away, Guci realized he had caused trouble and quickly ran over. "Are you all right?" He lightly knocked on the window and sincerely said, "Sorry, it's my fault. I was looking at my phone while walking." Seeing that it was a young man, Shi Qing slowly rolled down the window. "I'm leaking amniotic fluid and can't move. Get in the car and take me to the hospital." Her words were straightforward. Guci immediately got into the car without hesitation. He hadn't expected Shi Qing to be so calm. Despite her water breaking, she continued to drive steadily as if nothing had happened. As she drove, Shi Qing said, "From now on, you're my husband. Once we get to the hospital, you'll need to sign the forms as my family member." Guci knew he had made a mistake, and it was only right to accompany her to the hospital. But he thought that when giving birth, a pregnant woman should have her family with her. He asked in confusion, "Why not call your husband or family? I don't even know you. My name is Shi Qing." "You know me now." She directly interrupted Guci. Guci thought for a moment and cautiously asked, "Do you not have family?" Shi Qing's hand on the steering wheel trembled slightly as the baby inside her seemed to be urging her. The two of them said nothing else until they quickly arrived at Liecheng's largest hospital. Guci got out of the car first, ran into the hospital, and called for the nurses and doctors. Soon, Shi Qing was pushed into the emergency room. Guci went to handle the hospital admission process for her. Ding, the phone vibrated again. "Did you pick up your aunt?" The voice of Guci's father, Jiu Yunshan, came through. "No." Guci placed the phone between his shoulder and ear, efficiently handling the paperwork with a calm expression. He candidly explained, "I accidentally caused some trouble and couldn't pick up my aunt." Jiu Yunshan nearly lost his temper, suppressing his voice to ask, "What trouble did you cause now?" "I can handle it. We'll talk later." Guci hung up, finished the paperwork, and prepared to go back. At that moment, the phone in the delivery room rang. Shi Qing answered the call, her voice softer than usual. "Jiu Dage. I'm fine, yes. I haven't seen my nephew. I'm really fine, don't worry about him, alright, I still have some things to deal with. After it's done, you can bring my nephew here, and we'll have a meal together." Not wanting to worry the other person, Shi Qing didn't say too much and ended the call. At the same time, the delivery room door clicked open. When Shi Qing saw Guci walk in, she thought he was here to ask for the hospital fees. Instinctively, she reached for her bag at the bedside. Unexpectedly, Guci first opened his hand toward her. "Want some?" Shi Qing looked at his palm and saw a few Dove chocolates. She froze for a moment, and her motion to take out money halted mid-air. "I got them from the maternity nurse," Guci said. Shi Qing snapped back to reality and took the chocolates. "Thank you." Guci kept one piece for himself, popped it into his mouth, and asked, "Were you trying to give me money just now?" Shi Qing was about to apologize for her earlier practical thoughts when Guci extended his hand and said, "Give it to me." Chapter 2, The 32-Year-Old Big Sister. Shi Qing, ? Guci looked serious. "Today's incident is my fault. It's only right that I accompany you to the hospital to handle the paperwork. But I think you also need post-delivery care from a family member in addition to a nurse, and I can help with signing the other necessary forms." Shi Qing was taken aback as Guci continued, "I've booked you the best room, 2,500 yuan per day. For 3 days, that's 7,500 yuan. You can just give me that money, and I'll cover the rest of the expenses. I'll be responsible and take care of you until you're discharged." It was essentially a form of compensation in exchange for his company. The good news was, this kind of family-like companionship was exactly what Shi Qing needed. As she ate the chocolate, Shi Qing couldn't help but chuckle, though she couldn't refuse his offer. She took out her phone. I only have US dollars with me. I need to exchange them before I can use them. Let me transfer it to you via WeChat. Let us at each other first. Before she could even finish saying WeChat, GUCI had already shown her his payment code. Shi Qing had no choice but to confirm the series of risk warnings before transferring the money to him. WeChat payment received, 8,000 yuan. That's too much, GUCI said. Keep it. I'll also need you to buy me some daily necessities, Shi Qing replied. Okay. I'll go buy them now. GUCI stood up and was about to leave. Wait a minute. Shi Qing called after him. Could you ask the hospital for the Wi-Fi password? I have a video meeting to attend. GUCI paused, surprised that she still had a meeting to attend so close to giving birth. Nevertheless, he went to ask the nurse, and soon Shi Qing was connected to the hospital Wi-Fi. When GUCI returned with the supplies, he sat beside her in the waiting room. The meeting seemed to be about the film industry. He sat quietly by her side, always ready to respond to her needs. Give me a banana, Shi Qing finally instructed. GUCI grabbed a banana nearby, peeled it, and held it out to her. Mr. Shi, your husband is accompanying you back to the country, someone in the video conference casually asked, assuming the person beside Shi Qing was her husband. Shi Qing just responded with a faint millimeter, not elaborating. As GUCI handed her the banana, Shi Qing leaned forward, but accidentally touched the tip of the banana with her mouth, leaving a bit of banana residue on the corner of her lips. GUCI felt apologetic and wiped the corner of her mouth with a tissue before feeding her another bite of the banana. The video call members, who had been quiet for a moment, had noticed GUCI's wrist with their little genius wristband. Their curiosity piqued, but they didn't ask any questions. Halfway through the meeting, Shi Qing started to feel uncomfortable again, and GUCI quickly went to call the doctor. This time, Shi Qing cut off the meeting and went into the operating room. After GUCI sent a message to his father, Gu Yunshan, explaining the situation, he waited outside the delivery room. A few hours later, the door opened, and the doctor gave GUCI a reassuring smile. He let out a sigh of relief. Congratulations. It's a girl, weighing 3.7 kilograms. In the hospital room, Shi Qing lay weakly on the bed, her hair damp with sweat. Though she looked somewhat disheveled, her elegant appearance and good skin condition indicated her beauty was still intact. Congratulations, it's a girl, weighing 3.7 kilograms, GUCI repeated the doctor's words. Shi Qing just nodded faintly. But then, she reached for her phone. Sorry, everyone. I just gave birth. The meeting had been abruptly interrupted, but no one had left the virtual meeting room. I'll catch up on the rest of the content via email. Let us call it a day. Meeting adjourned. Shi Qing hastily ended the call, then lay back on the bed to rest. She looked over at GUCI. How old are you? Are you still in school? Shi Qing asked. She felt that GUCI seemed a bit silly but had clear eyes, as though perfectly between clever and naive. She had sensed this when she saw him drinking a large bottle of Fanta. 23. I'm in my 4th year of college, GUCI replied. Shi Qing confirmed her guess, and the room fell into silence again. Not long after, Shi Qing fell asleep, clearly exhausted. GUCI quietly stayed by her side, watching her peaceful sleeping face. He couldn't help but marvel silently at how well maintained she was. After all, while handling the paperwork, he had seen her age 32 years old. She was 9 years older than him, yet looked like she was in her 20s, with not a single wrinkle, even without makeup. A little while later, a nurse entered quietly. Could you please help me hold your wife for a moment? I need to change her maternity pad, the nurse whispered, lifting the blanket gently. GUCI hesitated for a moment, then reached out to hold Shi Qing. As soon as he touched her, Shi Qing opened her eyes groggily, as if she had only been half asleep. I'll do it myself. She murmured, attempting to sit up but feeling too weak to do so. The nurse smiled involuntarily. You two must have just gotten married, huh? You're both so shy that you can't even hold her without blushing. How sweet. Shi Qing pursed her lips, glanced at GUCI, and said awkwardly, "You, hold me." "Okay." Guci gently picked her up, supporting her waist and legs. For a moment, he was surprised at how light she was. Because of the way he held her, it was almost as if he was lifting her entirely in front of him. "Hey, you're holding her wrong. Her upper body will get tired like that. Let her lean into your chest. She's weak right now." The nurse couldn't watch it any longer and adjusted Guci's hands, moving them up to the right spot, just below her chest. The soft, warm sensation was felt by Guci. They exchanged a look, and Guci noticed Shi Qing almost biting her lip, her brow furrowed. He stood still, not moving. The phone on the bedside table buzzed. It was a call from his roommate, Wei Zhiheng. But since he was holding Shi Qing, he couldn't answer. The nurse noticed this and, kindly, went over to press the answer button and put it on speaker. Wei Zhiheng's teasing voice came through. "Bro, I just saw your girlfriend holding hands with that oil king from the sculpture department outside the dorm building. Har har. What should I do? Want me to take a picture for proof?" "No need. I told you, I only got together with her because she promised to help me with my drafts." Guci spoke quickly. The nurse heard this vaguely and couldn't help but think, "Girlfriend? Drafts? You're really okay with this?" Wei Zhiheng laughed. "We're just in a transaction, not getting married," Guci replied, signaling for the nurse to hang up. The nurse, her mind reeling with the words transaction and not getting married, quickly hung up and looked at Guci with a changed expression. Shi Qing remained much calmer, but her face shifted slightly, and her previously positive impression of Guci dimmed a little. The nurse finished changing the pad, and Guci carefully placed Shi Qing back on the bed. To prevent her from lying in the same spot for too long, he would come by every so often. Every time, the nurse would remind Shi Qing to maintain a good mood and throw Guci a disdainful glance. Guci just ignored it. When Shi Qing was able to eat again, Guci went back to school in the evening and brought her porridge during the day. Since her stomach wasn't fully recovered, she could only eat easy-to-digest foods like porridge and soup. Shi Qing seemed to be a workaholic. In the 2 days they spent together, they hardly spoke. Only when feeding her did Shi Qing lightly cough, signaling Guci to look away. The next morning, on the third day, Guci brought breakfast to the hospital. The room was empty. "Someone came to visit your wife. She left early with the baby," the nurse said, giving him an odd look. It seemed that some strange gossip was circulating in the hospital. "I see. Thank you." Guci left the hospital, thinking that Shi Qing had only stayed for 2 days, but he had received 3 days' worth of payment. He had an extra 2,500 yuan. He needed to return it. Chapter 3, Visiting My Aunt. But Guci realized that he didn't have Shi Qing's contact information. However, remembering Shi Qing's financial status and her position in the company meeting, he decided to try searching for her name online. Among the many search results, he immediately spotted a profile photo that showed Shi Qing's face clearly. Shi Qing, Chinese nationality, female, born September 23, 1991. Current chairman and legal representative of Shi Media Corporation. The information was scant, and there was no mention of her husband. But at least he now knew the name of her company. Shi Media Corporation. "Hello, how can I help you?" The receptionist looked at Guci. "Hi, I'm here to find Shi Qing. I came to return some money." Guci said honestly. "Return money?" The receptionist raised an eyebrow. "Do you have an appointment?" Guci shook his head. "No, but I met her yesterday. Could you let her know? I want to return the money to her in person." The receptionist seemed skeptical and didn't believe him, so she decisively said, "Sorry, no appointment, no meeting." "Then could you give me her contact information? I can set up a meeting." Guci asked. The receptionist was speechless. She bluntly said, "The chairman is very busy and doesn't meet with just anyone. Please leave if you don't have an appointment." Guci had no choice but to leave for now. Continuing the conversation might have led to security being called. Guci returned to his dorm. The porridge he bought for Shi Qing was left untouched, so he drank it himself and even bought some skewers to snack on. "Hey, handsome Tilder, not busy today? You were out the past few days, we thought you were being kept by some rich woman." His roommate Zhao Cheng teased, leaning close to Guci. Are rich women really looking for dumb sons these days? Wei Zhihen, who was lying on the upper bunk with dead fish eyes, chimed in sarcastically. Are you calling me dumb? Guci asked as he chewed his delicious roasted meat. Not talking about you. Wei Zhihen paused, then turned to Guci. Can you go grab a takeout at the door for me, Big Dad? Hearing Big Dad, Guci hesitated but agreed. As soon as Guci left, Wei Zhihen pointed at the barbecue on the table. Cheng, give me his barbecue. Is that okay? Zhao Cheng hesitated while eating the barbecue he'd already grabbed. This one's kind of spicy, aren't you allergic to spicy food? Just grab the Fanta under his desk. Wei Zhihen said. Oh. There's cheese wafers in his drawer. Take them as dessert. Watching the two of them raid Guci's food supply, the boy by the window drawing with headphones looked helpless. When Guci came back with the takeout, he saw that his skewers were all gone, leaving only the sticks. My roasted meat. Guci froze in place. Thanks, Wei Zhihen grinned as he took the takeout, with cumin still on the corners of his mouth. It was a box of dumplings. He opened it and froze. No way. Where's my garlic sauce? At this moment, he saw Guci pull a box of garlic sauce from his sleeve. Guci, did you see my garlic sauce? Wei Zhihen glared at the box in Guci's hand. No, I haven't seen it. Guci said. Then what's that in your hand? My tip for running errands. Wei Zhihen jumped down from his upper bunk. You bastard, give me back the garlic sauce. What am I supposed to eat without it? This is mine. Guci casually ate the garlic sauce in front of Wei Zhihen, who tried to snatch it from his mouth. You stole my food, so you deserve to eat dumplings without garlic sauce. Guci finished the garlic sauce. Fuck. Wei Zhihen screamed. Guci, I wish you get kicked off the game leaderboards. I wish your game CP gets stolen. I don't even have a game CP. Guci said helplessly. He liked playing the game Pictionary and often topped the game rankings. He met some online friends, including a girl he often matched with around mealtime, and they added each other. That's what Wei Zhihen was referring to as his game CP. Yeah, Guci, how far have you gotten with that girl? Zhao Cheng chimed in. Anyway, Su Lingyi's always fooling around, so it's fine if you have a game CP. I've told you, she's not my CP. I've never seen someone draw that badly. I only added her to increase the difficulty of the game. Guci said. He always thought the game questions and mechanics were too simple, but because he liked the game, he never gave up on it. Cut it, man. You should seriously start a real relationship. Otherwise, with your emotional intelligence, you'll end up hugging a plaster model when you're old. Wei Zhihen said. My emotional intelligence is that low. Guci muttered. Beep beep, a message popped up on his phone. It was from Jiu Yunshan, his dad. Dad, your aunt said she gave birth. I was supposed to take care of her. I told her to move into our place in the East District. She'll move in soon. Please send her some supplements. Dad, make sure to check on her. Don't be a fool. Dad, WeChat transfer. Guci's eyes widened as he read the message. The money in his family was usually managed by his mother, so his father was able to casually give out so much money. It seemed his aunt had a good relationship with his parents. His dad even thoughtfully sent a list of supplements, worried he might buy the wrong ones. Guci decided to go today. He didn't like leaving things for the last minute. He had always been this way, which is why he often stayed ahead of the curve in his studies. He was already learning high school material in middle school, not just to kill time but to ensure he had enough time for his passion drawing. East District. I haven't been here in a while. Guci muttered as he looked at the neighborhood in front of him. Full of memories, he had lived here during high school, but later, when his parents moved closer to the medical clinic for work, he stayed in the dorms. The house had remained empty. He found the door number easily and knocked. He had to admit, he was curious. What kind of person was his aunt, that his parents cared so much and even offered her their house? Click, the door opened. Hello, may I help you? GUCI began, but then froze when he saw the woman who opened the door. She looked to be in her 40s or 50s. Aunt. His IQ momentarily dropped to zero, and he had no idea what to call her. The woman, holding a bundle of pink cloth, sized him up. Are you the boss's nephew? I'm the maternity nurse. She told me someone might come, but you're out of luck, she's not here today. It turned out he had made a mistake. These are the supplements my dad asked me to bring for my aunt. GUCI handed over the items. Wow, these are all great ingredients, thank you. When the boss gets back, I'll make them for her. After giving birth, women need plenty of supplements. The nurse smiled. At least he didn't need to make small talk. He just left the items and was about to go. But the way the nurse referred to his aunt, it seemed so distant. Was his aunt hard to get along with? Did she look fierce? GUCI didn't dwell on it and left for school. As soon as he left, a figure in a thick coat stepped out of a car and entered the neighborhood. Catching a glimpse of GUCI's departing figure, Shi Qing couldn't help but glance at him a few more times. President Shi, is everything okay? Her assistant asked. It's nothing, let's go. Shi Qing walked into the neighborhood. Just now, she had thought about a child she had seen at the hospital. That child seemed to like light-colored clothes, though the clothes always looked dirty, and had worn them for 2 days in a row. She didn't think much of it. After all, it was someone irrelevant, someone she would never meet again. Chapter 4, A Restaurant Encounter. In the following days, GUCI frequently went near Shisha, but he never managed to meet Shi Qing. So, he took the 2,500 yuan out, placed it in a paper bag, and carried it around with him, thinking that if he saw Shi Qing one day, he could simply hand her the bag with the cash. It would be the quickest solution. During the rest of the time, he continued to hang out in the school's art studio, as usual. The problem, however, was that there were still many juniors who came to ask him for advice. Senior, can you help me with this painting? How should I approach this part? You don't know how to do this. GUCI was helpless, as the questions were all very basic, almost as if they were pretending not to know. They weren't even as good as his friend QQ from the You Draw I Guess game. QQ's drawings were ugly, but they were at least very genuine. He sighed and grabbed a new sheet of paper, quickly drawing an example. Wow! Senior, you're amazing! Several juniors gathered around him. GUCI preferred to quietly focus on his painting and didn't enjoy being the center of attention, so after quickly finishing the drawing, he signed it, packed his things, and stood up. You guys take your time, he said, leaving the studio and returning to his dorm to paint. Hey, GUCI, you're back already? I thought you'd finish that project first, Zhao Chen, a roommate, said. GUCI shook his head. I can finish that project, but I don't have better inspiration yet. Well, yeah. This project sounds easy, but it's actually hard to make it refined. The invisible window in the city, it just sounds random. It's a tough one, Zhao Chen sighed. Li Feng drew several versions yesterday and even wrote down his ideas, but wasn't he satisfied, so today he went out to find inspiration. No rush, GUCI said casually as he sketched a rough outline of a city on a piece of paper. Suddenly, his phone buzzed. It was a message from his father, Jiu Yunshan. Dad, at 11 a.m., we're having lunch with your aunt at Yingchun restaurant. Don't be late. CI, don't worry, I'm reliable. Dad, good son, I trust you. Thumbs up emoji. GUCI checked the time. It was still over an hour before the lunch, so he had time. He decided to leave the campus, thinking it would be a good opportunity to find some inspiration while strolling on the way. The northern air always carried a slight chill, and even the noon sunlight didn't feel very warm. GUCI looked at the busy city streets, thinking about his project. Invisible windows. Why invisible? He pondered and suddenly stopped in his tracks. Not far ahead, a beam of sunlight slanted against the wall, casting a shadow on the ground, where a stray cat was lazily napping. For some reason, when GUCI saw that beam of light, inspiration struck him like a dam bursting, flooding his mind. He slowly walked over, and the sleeping cat didn't even notice him. He traced the light with his fingers, almost forgetting everything around him. Unable to hold back any longer, he hastily took out his paints and started to experiment, painting directly on the wall. As time passed, passers-by gave him strange looks, and one good Samaritan even called the police before slipping away. In the end, Guci's skillful painting impressed the police, and he was invited for tea. Yingchun Restaurant, Eastern District. Shi Qing was feeding her baby while handling work documents. "Ms. Shi, you have a meal appointment later, right?" the secretary asked. "Yes, it's a gathering with familiar people, but the time isn't fixed. Could you help push back the other appointments?" Shi Qing smiled gently as she looked at her baby. The secretary flipped through her tablet's schedule. "You have an important interview after, and the reporters from that company are notoriously aggressive. If possible, keep the meal within 2 hours." "Okay. I'll do my best," Shi Qing said, handing the baby over to the nanny and picking out a simple black coat from the wardrobe. She applied light makeup, not too extravagant. With less than half an hour left, Shi Qing grabbed her bag and said to the secretary, "Call the driver and tell him to bring the business car around. Let us leave now." "Okay, chairwoman." Soon, Shi Qing arrived at Yingchun Restaurant ahead of time. "Gudage, Shu Da Soa, long time no see." She saw Gu Yunshan and Shu Shi from a distance. The couple eagerly approached her. "Qing, you're finally here. Your big sister misses you every day. You two are so busy at the clinic and still invited me to lunch." "I feel guilty," Shi Qing smiled. "No need for that. We consider you part of the family." "This is just a family meal," Gu Yunshan said. "You came back alone and suddenly had a baby. If you need anything in the future, just call your big sister." "Okay. When the baby turns 1, I'll cook a meal and invite you both over." Shi Qing looked around and asked, "Where's my little nephew?" That kid is always slow. He's probably still on their way," Gu Yunshan said awkwardly. "Don't worry about him. Let us eat first. We'll wait for him." "All right." Shi Qing sat down at the table with the couple. When she saw that many of the dishes were nourishing soups for new mothers, she felt touched. "Big brother, big sister, you really went out of your way. I'll be staying in the country for a while. If there is anything I can help with, whether at the clinic or with my nephew, I'll do my best." "Don't say that. If it weren't for your help back then, our clinic wouldn't have been able to open," Shu Shi said. Gu Yunshan nodded. "Yes, we'll always remember what you did for us back then. I'm honored to help you both in any way I can. You treat patients and promote traditional Chinese medicine. I'll always support you," Shi Qing said as she raised her bowl of soup. "I'll drink to that." "Har har, cheers." The three of them chatted warmly, creating a harmonious atmosphere as if they were family. Meanwhile, after receiving a warning and a 100 yuan fine from the police, Guci was finally released. He immediately hailed a cab to the restaurant and was still recording his earlier inspiration on his phone. Perhaps due to drinking too much tea at the police station, Guci rushed straight to the restaurant and had to take care of some urgent business first, heading straight for the restroom. Since Guci hadn't arrived, Shi Qing couldn't stay too long. Gu Yunshan and Shu Shi had to leave with her. As they walked out of the private room, Gu Yunshan said with embarrassment, "That kid, Guci, is always running late. We told him to be on time, but now." "It's okay, brother. There will be plenty of chances in the future." Shi Qing said, "The car is outside, I'll head off now. Don't worry about sending me off." After Gu Yunshan and Shu Shi left, Shi Qing walked toward the door. Suddenly, she stopped in her tracks. A group of reporters dressed casually was walking toward her. "Why are they already here?" She gave the driver a signal to retreat and turned back into the restaurant. When the reporters saw Shi Qing's car, they tried to look inside, but when they couldn't spot her, they turned their attention to the restaurant. As they ran into the restaurant, Shi Qing panicked and dashed straight into the nearest restroom. Splash! At this moment, Guci was in the process of relieving himself. They both froze when they locked eyes. Shi Qing glanced down in surprise and quickly looked away. She tried to leave but heard the sound of footsteps approaching. Feeling conflicted, she hesitated. "Hey! This is the men's restroom." Guci, startled, almost stopped what he was doing. He covered himself with one hand and pointed at the sign with the other. He had just started to recognize her when Shi Qing walked straight toward him. Chapter 5, The Clumsy Guci. By the time Guci realized what had happened, his pants were still down, and he was shoved into a stall by Shi Qing. The chaotic pushing made Guci lose his composure. R. Tilde. Guci was utterly confused, covering his lower half in a panic as he questioned, "What are you doing?" In close proximity, Guci recognized Shi Qing's delicate face, and she recognized him as well. Guci never imagined that the person he could meet at the company would appear here, especially in a men's restroom. Shi Qing gestured for him to be quiet, and at that moment, footsteps could be heard outside the stall. Confused, Guci emphasized, "This is the men's restroom. Can you leave first? My pants are." Shi Qing pushed Guci into the corner of the stall, and both of them were pressed against the wall. "Don't move, someone's coming," Shi Qing whispered, while keeping an eye on the sounds outside. Guci sighed in resignation. "If you don't move, they won't notice." Shi Qing lowered her gaze, her expression slightly changing as she muttered, "Pervert." "Who's a pervert?" Guci became flustered, his voice full of grievance. "I was just minding my business in the restroom, and you came in suddenly, trapped me here, pressed me, and touched me." R. Tilde. Shi Qing, hearing Guci's complaints, grew impatient. She silenced him with a quick gesture, and Guci immediately shut up. At that moment, a pair of footsteps approached the restroom. A reporter barged into the first stall, causing both of them to flinch in surprise. The reporter then quickly went from one stall to the next, pushing open doors. It wasn't long before they reached the stall beside Guci's. Guci nervously backed away, the paint tubes in his pocket tapping against the wooden wall. He looked at Shi Qing with an apologetic expression, but he wasn't doing it on purpose. "What's that sound?" One reporter had noticed the noise and quickly approached their stall, twisting the doorknob. Shi Qing, worried that the reporters might squat down to check their feet, quickly jumped onto Guci. Tilde. Guci looked at Shi Qing in confusion, while she made a "please" gesture. "Knock, knock, knock." The reporters continued to knock on the door. "Why are you rushing?" Guci shouted at the people outside. Upon hearing that it was a man, the reporters left. Both of them breathed a sigh of relief, and Shi Qing quickly prepared to leave. Suddenly, Guci grabbed her hand. Shi Qing glanced at him and then helped him fasten his pants, tying the belt in a neat bow. "Thanks, little brother. I need to go now." Shi Qing tried to leave, but Guci grabbed her wrist. "Do you remember the 8,000 yuan you transferred to me at the hospital?" he asked. "I remember." "Why?" "The third day I went to the hospital, the nurse said you had checked out early, and I was overpaid by 2,500 yuan. Guci then took out the paper bag with the money. "Here's 2,400 yuan. I spent 100 today because of a little incident. I'll transfer it to you on WeChat." He had been to the police station, where they scolded him and fined him 100 yuan. In a hurry, he hadn't paid by WeChat, but instead, took 100 yuan out of the paper bag. "I remember." "You don't need to pay the 100 yuan, Shi Qing said hurriedly, taking the bag and preparing to leave. "Wait. I'll transfer it to you." Guci stopped her, attempting to pay her through WeChat. "You kid." Shi Qing said helplessly, "I told you, no need to return it. I'm in a hurry." "No, I..." Before Guci could finish his sentence, Shi Qing rushed out. He followed her, but by the time he reached the door, Shi Qing had already gotten into another car and left. Guci, irritated, stuffed the 100 yuan into his phone case. How infuriating. He had to return it. It wasn't his. He wouldn't accept even 1 yuan, let alone 100. "Chairwoman, where were you hiding just now? Those reporters didn't even find you?" the driver asked casually. "The restroom," Shi Qing answered, wiping her hands with a disinfecting wipe. Perhaps because of the driver's reminder, Shi Qing recalled the scene in the restroom. She muttered to herself, "What do kids eat these days?" She held the money bag, sensing a faint scent. The paper bag smelled faintly like orange-scented laundry powder that had been warmed by the sun, with a touch of cold breeze. That kid seemed to have pulled the money from his jacket pocket. Shi Qing rubbed her forehead, surprised at how a young boy had thrown her thoughts into disarray. Moreover, he was such a clumsy kid. He remembered everything so clearly and even carried the money on him, insisting on returning the 100 yuan when she had already told him not to. He must be the kind of overly obedient fool who has been like that since childhood. Stupid kid. What did I tell you today? Why didn't you listen? At that moment, Gu Yunshan was scolding Guci on the phone. I didn't mean to not listen. Something unexpected came up and delayed me, Guci explained, reminiscing about the tea the police officer had given him. It was quite good. Otherwise, he wouldn't have drunk so much and ended up running to the restroom when he got to the restaurant. Last time, I told you to pick up your aunt, and you said you had something to do. Are you really at odds with her? Gu Yunshan scolded. Chapter 6, The Blind Date. Deal. I'll use the studio today, Guci said, already eager to start the project he had been working on. Glad to serve my godfather. Wei Zhiheng had managed to convince several female classmates who had been waiting for Guci. He told them that a particular studio was being renovated, which allowed Guci to sneak in quietly. Now, he had an entire studio to himself. Wei Zhiheng, you really don't deserve the Grand Temple, Guci thought, feeling ecstatic. The girls next door had waited for him for a while but eventually left when he didn't show up. Now, in the quiet studio, his creativity flowed like a river, and he poured all his inspiration onto the canvas as if the whole world had vanished and only he remained. The next day, Guci submitted his assignment and it was put on display. He had painted the flash of light he had seen on the street wall as a window, with many wild animals inside. Without being limited by a specific concept, it conveyed a positive message about protecting wildlife. On the third day, when Guci returned from class, Wei Zhiheng was already waiting for him in the dorm. Seeing the 3 unopened boxes of brand new paints and a bucket of white paint, Guci felt an urge to paint all day long. I've given you everything. You better handle your side of the bargain, Wei Zhiheng reminded him. Guci, holding the bucket of white paint, didn't even take his eyes off it, nodding continuously. Don't worry, I'm reliable. Wei Zhiheng was still a little uneasy. Remember, this afternoon, just annoy her, mock her, get her angry, and make her leave. I understand. Guci nodded seriously. Knowing Guci would listen, Wei Zhiheng finally left for his class with peace of mind. At the same time, in the eastern neighborhood. Ching. A stylishly dressed woman entered, pouting with annoyance. You had a baby and didn't even tell me. It happened so suddenly, Shi Qing said with a helpless smile. At that moment, Suman noticed the little baby in the nanny's arms and rushed over, her eyes sparkling. Wow, Tilda. Is it a little baby? She was so excited but didn't dare to pick up the baby immediately. She grabbed a disinfectant wipe to clean her hands, then gently touched the baby's round face. The baby's face was soft and smelled like milk. Perfect timing, she's awake, Shi Qing said. What's her name? She's so cute. So sweet. Suman gushed, murmuring, now I want to have a baby myself. Sure Wan, Shi Qing replied. One tilde, Suman was almost lost in a daze from the baby's cuteness before suddenly remembering something. Right. I came to ask you for a big favor today. She moved closer to Shi Qing. What does Miss Su need from a married woman like me? Shi Qing smiled. Because of my dad, he insists I go on a blind date. He said if I don't go, he won't give me any more money. Suman said, clutching Shi Qing's arm and giving her an ingratiating smile. Ching Tilda, you're the best. Will you go for me? Me? Shi Qing looked at Suman in surprise. If you're not interested in the blind date, why not just go and tell the person straight up? Suman suddenly looked embarrassed, her face flushing. She twisted uncomfortably and said, actually, my dad also said that if I can get married in the next 2.5 years, he'll buy me a limited edition sports car. One I've wanted for a long time, Tilda. So, if you can go instead of me and negotiate with that person, I can marry him in a contract marriage for mutual benefits. You know I'm not good at negotiating. If I get upset, a few words will make me angry and the car will be gone. She pouted her little face and shook Shi Qing's arm. In exchange, I'll help take care of Wan. Whenever you're busy, I'll look after her, no matter how long. I even studied parenting before coming. Looks like you're determined to wear me down until I agree. Shi Qing hesitated for a moment, then said directly, you should know that I'm only good at business negotiations, not contract marriages. It's just nonsense, like playing house. Ching tilder Ching tilder. Suman blinked her big eyes and pleaded, please tilder, I sneaked out of the exhibition just to come here. I trust you the most. Please just help me this one time tilder, after this, Wan will be my goddaughter. I'll spoil her like crazy. Since they had been close friends for many years, Shi Qing had no choice but to give in and agreed. Great. Love you. Big heart. Suman immediately reminded her, it's at 2:30 this afternoon, second floor of Starbucks on West Street. His last name is Wei. Just so you know, I'll say whatever I need to say. Whether he agrees or not is his business. And I won't take too long, I still have to work from home afterward. Alright tilder, I'll be waiting for your good news at home tilder. At 2:30 p.m., on the second floor of Starbucks on West Street. Wei Zhihen, remember, now you're Wei Zhihen, and the girl you're going on a blind date with is named Su. Guci, I already told you, I'm reliable. Guci used the membership card that Wei Zhihen had given him to order a table full of desserts and ate them with relish. Normally, he would never come to places like this to eat, but today, he decided to try everything he hadn't had before. He didn't notice a Ferrari parked downstairs, with a stunning woman in the back seat, drawing the attention of many customers. Shi Qing pushed her sunglasses up and walked up the stairs to the second floor. Her eyes immediately fixed on a white figure sitting in the corner. She slightly lowered her gaze and walked over confidently. Hello, are you Mr. Wei? Chapter 7, A Chest That Failed Surgery. Hearing the three words, Mr. Wei, Guci, who was eating happily, realized that he was now Wei Zhihen, so he turned around quickly. I am. The two looked at each other. Shi Qing was stunned. She was glad that she had the habit of wearing a mask and sunglasses when going out. Nice to see you, she said, sitting opposite. I'm not happy, Guci said. Why are you unhappy? You are wearing a mask and sunglasses, and I can't see what you look like. Well, I think if we get along well, looks are not important. I don't think so, Guci interrupted Shi Qing very rudely. I am a face control, and the appearance of the blind date is the most important to me, of course, including the figure. He said, looking at Shi Qing's chest, Miss Su, are you underdeveloped? Shi Qing was wearing large-sized clothes, which blocked the outline of her chest, but what surprised her was that this child was so rude. Seeing that Shi Qing didn't say anything, Guci picked up a piece of dark chocolate and handed it over. Miss Su, do you want to try it? Okay. Thinking that Guci might just have low emotional intelligence, Shi Qing didn't care and reached out to take the cake. But the next moment, Guci took the cake away again. Forget it, you'd better not eat it. You're too fat. He ate the cake in big mouthfuls in front of Shi Qing. Shi Qing took a deep breath. She had been in the business world for a long time. What storms and waves had she not seen? It was just a little kid, she endured it. Mr. Wei, I came here today to have a friendly talk with you. I asked about you and heard that you have no plans to get married now, and I am the same. But the two families are pressing very hard. You know, if you can solve it once and for all, wouldn't it be better? Shi Qing said calmly. Guci was still eating the snacks on the table and nodded symbolically. Shi Qing saw that the other party had listened, so he continued, we have a contract marriage, just to deal with the family, and we will not interfere with each other after marriage, how about it? Contract marriage. Guci looked at Shi Qing. He didn't expect that the other party came with the intention of getting married, and he seemed to have a good temper, he could still tolerate such rudeness. But he had already accepted Wei Zhihen's things and eaten the delicious food, he had to do this well. Mr. Wei, if you think it's okay, leave me a phone number, I can draw up a contract for you. Shi Qing said. Are you worthy? Guci went all out, ignored the other party, and said boldly. As for you, a crooked melon and a cracked date, don't even talk about contract marriage, you don't want it even if it's free. Hurry up and take your breasts that failed surgery away from my sight. Shi Qing was silent. Guci had said all the unpleasant words he could think of, he had tried his best. After a while, Shi Qing stood up with his bag. Guci breathed a sigh of relief, it seemed that his mission was successful. Suddenly, Shi Qing grabbed the iced Americano on the table and splashed it directly on Guci's face. Guci had no time to react and was splashed all over his face. His white shirt was stained and he was stunned. "What are you doing?" he yelled and simply turned on the face-tearing mode, grabbing a piece of crispy croissant and throwing it at the other party. But Shi Qing was faster. Bang! A standard boxer's action, the punch was neat and fast, and hit Guci's face directly. As if it was not enough to relieve his anger, he raised his leg and kicked him. Fortunately, Guci dodged quickly, otherwise this kick would have a name, the kick that cuts off his descendants. He stepped back a few steps and pointed at Shi Qing. Just when he was about to say something, his foot tripped over the flower pot behind him, and he and the croissant fell backwards together. Just behind him was the railing of the second floor. Shi Qing just wanted to teach Guci a lesson, and didn't want Guci to fall and become brain dead, so he quickly stepped forward and pulled Guci. Guci subconsciously grabbed something to gain leverage, and just happened to grab a soft ball. The touch made the two look at each other in surprise. At close range, the deep, snow-white beauty hidden by the loose clothes was clearly visible to Guci. Guci's nose was bleeding from the beating. Shi Qing realized something and immediately covered his chest. Shameless scumbag. Par. A slap almost made Guci lose his mind. He covered his face and cursed, "Shrew." He vowed to see what the person who beat him looked like, so while Shi Qing was not paying attention, he reached out and pulled off Shi Qing's sunglasses and mask as quickly as possible. Shi Qing quickly put on his mask and sunglasses again. But Guci had already recognized that handsome face. Guci pointed at Shi Qing, and before he could call out Shi Qing's name, his mouth was covered. It is better to be safe than sorry. After all, Shi Qing has always been low-key because she is afraid of being recognized. At this time, the manager of the coffee shop came late. When he arrived at the second floor, he saw a mess and was stunned with several waiters. Shi Qing locked Guci's throat and covered Guci's mouth. "Sorry. I'm teaching my boyfriend a lesson. I will compensate for the loss of the store." Shi Qing hurriedly nodded and apologized, took out the cash she carried and handed it to the manager, then locked Guci and fled the scene. Shi Qing, has lived for 32 years, and this is the first time she is so embarrassed. "I have never seen such a mess. A child actually messed it up." This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading. When they were in a place where no one was, Guci broke free from the soft mass. Feeling that his cheeks were wet except for the coffee, he looked at Shi Qing's chest again. "You're still looking. Are you looking for a fight?" Shi Qing crossed his arms in anger and muttered, "Wei Jihan, right. I'll remember you. Wait, take a look at your clothes first." Guci reminded. Shi Qing looked down and found that her breasts were swollen. She pulled her coat with both hands, trying to cover the two wet pieces, but there was too much moisture, and even the coat was soaked a little. Guci hesitated for a moment, but still stuffed his coat to the other party, and then stepped back. I won't bother with you." As he said, he saw Shi Qing silently wrapping his coat around him, and asked, "You have to tell me now, isn't your name Shi Qing? Why do you say your last name is Su? Are you lying to me?" Shi Qing thought for a while and explained calmly, "Actually, I have two names. Because of my special identity, one name is very unsafe. Anyway, you, a child, won't understand." "Whose child?" "I'm 23. Guci almost forgot his mission today and quickly got back to the point. "In short, I tell you, contract marriage is impossible. Don't treat me as a fool, you already have a child. I Wei Jihan. I will never be a stepfather." He made a harsh remark and then slipped away. Guci's acting skills in this life have come to an end, he really can't act anymore. Wei Jihan. Shi Qing secretly memoized this name. Chapter 8 School Beauty. Childhood Sweetheart. When the driver drove the car over, Shi Qing called Suman. "I beat that Wei Jihan. If the people in the Wei family have any objections, let them come to me." Beat. What's going on? Why are they fighting? How are you? Are you okay? Suman said nervously. "He's the one who's in trouble." Shi Qing returned home quickly. Suman anxiously asked, "What happened today?" "No matter how unwilling the son of the Wei family is, he can't do it, right? I started it first, because he was talking nonsense, just like a playboy. Shi Qing said, recalling those words, pinching his eyebrows. It's best not to let me see a kid like Wei Zhiheng, otherwise I will beat him every time I see him. He is not well educated at home and is annoying when he is released. Is his son such a bastard? Suman was a little frustrated. It seems that I have to change my contract partner Tilda. Suddenly, she noticed a white men's coat on Shi Qing. Hey, where did you get this coat? She asked. That bastard kid's. Liaoqing Art University, male dormitory. Puff. Wei Zhiheng laughed so hard that his whole body trembled, while applying ice cubes to Guci's face. Is it funny? Guci looked at Wei Zhiheng with a dark face. You really deserve to die. I took the beating for you, and you still laughed so happily. Har ha har ha har ha, consider it your work injury. Wei Zhiheng couldn't hold it in anymore, and tears came out of his eyes. Fortunately I didn't go, I didn't know that Miss Su knew boxing, and I didn't know her. I only knew that she liked to be a guide in the exhibition hall, and I didn't know anything else. She's just a shrew. She's so violent even if she has a child. Guci complained. Har har. Child. Wei Zhiheng pondered for a moment with a puzzled look on his face. Could it be that the Su family is looking for a buyer? Damn, I have to tell my dad. Beep mobile message. Guci took a look and it turned out to be Su Lingyan. The last time they chatted was a few weeks ago. Su Lingyan, I heard you were beaten. Where? Guci inevitably met a few people when he returned to school. It was normal to be seen, but he didn't expect Su Lingyan to ask. Ci, face. He told the truth, and the other side was silent for a while. Su Lingyan, come to the downstairs of the girls' dormitory in 10 minutes to find me. Guci put a band-aid on the tip of his nose, which was still a little red, and then went downstairs. Every time Su Lingyan invited him to go somewhere, although he was too lazy to go, he would never refuse. Because he was too afraid to miss the drafts of those famous artists, those messy and orderly drafts on the drawing paper were of great help to him. When he arrived at the downstairs of the girls' dormitory, he saw Su Lingyan, the most eye-catching among the few people. Long hair, high ponytail plus JK, full of energy. Why are you here just now? You are dawdling. Su Lingyan strode to Guci and stood on tiptoe to look at Guci's face. I thought you were disfigured. She was relieved to see that Guci's face was still handsome. Why did you get beaten? Nothing. Guci didn't say much. If you don't have anything to give me, I'll go back. He saw Su Lingyan's little sister next to him, and the oil king of the sculpture department mentioned by Wei Zhiheng before, and he didn't want to stay here. Every time I call you out, you are thinking about the draft. Is there nothing else in your mind except the draft? Aren't you my boyfriend? Can't you say a few nice words? Didn't you notice that I had my hair done today? Su Lingyan muttered a little unhappy. Although she was just using Guci had such a beautiful face and came out to see her as her boyfriend, she still hoped that Guci would praise her. Even though Guci had never said nice words to her since they were together. After all, Guci was a famous straight man. Guci was silent for a moment, then spoke with a bit of doubt. Why should I say it? Didn't you say you liked me and then pursued me? Su Lingyan was speechless. It has nothing to do with who pursues who. Forget it, I won't tell you anymore. You wait here, I'll get a milk tea, take a photo with me later, I want to post it on WeChat Moments. After she finished speaking, she ran to the school gate. Guci was used to Su Lingyan's request to take photos from time to time, and also found that Su Lingyan seemed very satisfied with his photogenic face. They were just a deal. Hey, buddy. At this time, the sculpture student patted Guci on the shoulder, took out a white hairband and handed it to Guci, with an ambiguous smile on his face. Yinyan left her hairband here with me that day. You are her boyfriend, so you can return it to her for me. Guci took the hairband and said lightly, oh, okay. Jiang Minute was a little puzzled by Guci's calmness. Why don't you ask why her hairband is here with me? Guci was silent for a moment and smiled kindly. Her hairband. Hasn't it always been here with me? He has always been adhering to the mentality that he would ignore anything Su Lingyan did that seemed to betray him, and silently accept the famous drafts given by Su Lingyan. Jiangwen was speechless, and stopped pretending. She whispered to Guci, break up with Su Lingyan as soon as possible. She said in bed that I am much better than you. Guci ignored this guy this time, because he and Su Lingyan had no physical relationship at all, and he even believed what she said in bed. What a fool! My dear, there is more to this chapter. Please click on the next page to continue reading. It will be more exciting later. Soon, Su Lingyan came back with the takeaway milk tea and brought a cup to Guci. He guessed that it was probably for taking pictures. But he changed his mind this time. He did not take pictures with Su Lingyan. Instead, he took a cup of milk tea, returned the hairband to Su Lingyan, and left. Even though Guci didn't say anything, Su Lingyan understood after seeing the post. She immediately chased after Guci and said anxiously, "Why are you throwing a tantrum? I accidentally dropped my post at school and he picked it up for me. Don't waste time, come and take pictures with me. Don't you want those drafts? You haven't given me any for a long time. And he told me to break up with you, I think I should think about it." After Guci finished speaking, he went straight back to their male dormitory. After not getting what he wanted for a while, he should take the leading role. Seeing Guci leave, Su Lingyan glared at the boy in the sculpture department. "Are you free? What nonsense are you talking to him about? Now I can't post on WeChat moments today. Yin Tilder, don't be angry, if he doesn't take pictures with you, I will." Jiang Minute came close to Su Lingyan. "Who wants to take a photo with you? Look at Guci's face, and then look at your face with acne. You are only blessed by those beads below." If someone hadn't said today that Xia Huaning has been secretly following Guci recently, I wouldn't have specially asked Guci to show off our love. Now it's messed up, it's all your fault, idiot. Su Lingyan couldn't even drink the milk tea, so she threw it directly on Jiang Wen and returned to the dormitory angrily. Male dormitory. Guci came back a little annoyed. Today was another wasted trip. He studied every stroke of the painter thoroughly in the draft Su Lingyan gave him before. If Su Lingyan didn't get him a new draft, he didn't want to see Su Lingyan again. "Are you back?" Zhao Chen saw Guci coming back and handed him a pink paper bag. "Here, someone gave you something when you were not here." "For me?" Guci took the pink paper bag, untied the bow on it, and so that it contained abrasion medicine, swelling medicine, bruise spray, and a pack of cartoon band-aids. There was also a yellow bunny note. "Be good and take care of yourself. And, I like your new work. Xia Huaning." "Oh Tilder." Zhao Chen stretched his neck to look over and said sarcastically, "I thought it was some schoolgirl who was so brave to give a gift to the boyfriend of the school beauty Su, but it turned out to be your childhood sweetheart Tilder. Look, it's so warm. I envy Master Gu, every day Tilder." Guci put away the things, took out his mobile phone and sent a message to Xia Huaning. "Ci, I received the things, thank you." The moment he sent it, it showed that it was being input. "Xia Huaning, does the injury still hurt?" Chapter 9. My aunt is treating me to a meal? Ci, it doesn't hurt anymore. It says it's typing again, but it pauses from time to time, and new messages appear after a while. Xia Huaning, a new dessert shop has opened near the school, the second portion is half price, I can't finish 2 portions. Xia Huaning, my friends are all losing weight, are you free? Desserts. Guci thought about it, he rarely eats desserts, but what he had at Starbucks today was pretty good, so it doesn't hurt to have another meal. Ci, when? Xia Huaning, this weekend. Ci, I'll go. Z. The vast horizon is my love Tilder. Mom. Xiao Ci, have you visited your aunt recently? Shu Shi asked. Not yet, I've been a bit busy these 2 days. What's up? The new herbs in the pharmacy have arrived, and I want you to come get them so that you can send them to your aunt. Shu Shi said. Okay, got it. I'll go there tomorrow. The next day, Gu's clinic. Because there was no class this morning, Guci came early and bought breakfast for his parents. Dad, Mom, I'm here. As soon as Guci stepped into the clinic, he saw a charming figure. Shoulder-length hair, knitted hairpins, and a light sportswear. Xia Huaning. He was a little surprised, why are you here? Ci, brother. Xia Huaning was also a little surprised to see Guci, biting her lips a little nervously. Little Ci is here. Shu Shi walked out and smiled kindly, Ningning often comes to the clinic when she doesn't have class. Today, she heard that your dad and I were sorting out medicinal materials, so she came to help. No wonder Xia Huaning's trouser legs were stained with some dirt. Well, I just didn't have class this morning, Xia Huaning said, keeping her head down and sorting out medicinal materials silently. Guci put breakfast on the table. Mom, I bought breakfast, you and Dad can eat first. Oh, 2 breakfasts. Did Huan Ning not eat either? Xu Shi asked. Xia Huan Ning waved her hands quickly and said, I don't need it. I ate bread on the way. Xu Shi smiled secretly. How about you and Xiao Xi go eat something nearby? Xia Huan Ning's cheeks flushed slightly, and she was about to speak. I'll buy another breakfast. It's very close, Guci said and walked out of the clinic to buy breakfast. Xu Shi sighed helplessly. Xia Huan Ning saw Guci leaving, and then she couldn't wait to cast her eyes on Guci's back, and looked for a long time before coming back to her senses. Seeing Xu Shi picking up medicine, she asked, Auntie, who is this medicine for? These are for Xiao Xi's aunt. She needs to recuperate after giving birth. Let Xiao Xi deliver it later. Oh. Soon, Guci came back and gave breakfast to Xia Huaning. Baiki, cooked codernopsis, eukamia, morinda, dried Chinese yam, gastrodia, chuanxiong. Xu Shi checked the herbs, then packed them and gave them to Guci. Guci took the herbs and left. He walked too fast. Xia Huaning took out her phone and quickly sent a message to Guci. Just saw Guci typing. Ci, thank you for coming to the clinic to help. Xia Huaning smiled sweetly and replied, thank you for your breakfast too. See you on the weekend. She ate the tofu pudding bought by Guci and found that it didn't contain the coriander she didn't like. Her heart was beating fast, and every bite she ate seemed to be full of happiness. Guci didn't eat breakfast either. He bought some fried cold noodles and soy milk on the roadside. Beep new news. Wei Jihen, it's over, barbecue brother. My dad wants to invite the Su family to dinner and asked me to apologize. Ci, I can't help you. Wei Jihen, my dad doesn't believe what I say. Will I be beaten to death by that boxer crying.jpg? Ci, folded hands.jpg. Dongcheng community. Knock knock. Guci knocked on the door. I'm here Tilda, a sweet voice. Opening the door, a young woman with long curly hair was holding a child. Aunt. Guci asked tentatively. Who are you? Suman was confused, but her eyes were shining as she looked at Guci, and the pink ball in her arms was sucking her fingers. I'm Guci, Gu Yinshan's son. I'm here to give my aunt some nourishing herbs. Guci said, handing over the package in his hand. Tilda, is that so Tilda? Suman rolled her eyes, as if thinking of something, and said, your aunt hasn't come back yet, do you want to come in and sit and chat? Her enthusiastic eyes were almost glued to Guci. No. Since my aunt is not here, I won't bother you. Goodbye. Guci left without giving Suman a chance to speak. Suman could only look at the back reluctantly, and after handing Wan to the confinement nanny, she called Shi Qing. Qing, you said before that you have a little nephew, but I didn't expect that he looks so clean Tilda he. Suman smiled foolishly, don't let outsiders take away the good things, give me his WeChat Tilda. At this time, Shi Qing in the office frowned slightly, has he been there just now? Yes, I came to give you herbs, and he looks so well behaved Tilda, Suman's voice sounded like a female pervert. I advise you to give up your thoughts as soon as possible. He is my nephew. Don't harm him. Suman was embarrassed by what she said, and said, I didn't say what I was going to do. I'm going to the Wei family's banquet tomorrow. I want to make the Wei family give up. I want to bring a fake boyfriend with me, but I haven't found a suitable candidate. Today I just met your nephew. He is so handsome. Wouldn't it be a good way to kill the bad boy of the Wei family? This chapter is not over yet. Please click on the next page to continue reading. Shi Qing pinched his eyebrows helplessly. The men you have met can be ranked in the United States, why must it be my nephew? I'm almost sick of those fancy men. Haven't you seen how pure your nephew looks, like a high school student, cough cough, just this time. Just say that you are inviting him to dinner, I promise that this is the only time, and I will never covet your nephew again in the future. Hearing this, Shi Qing was silent. Pure? Like a high school student. For some reason, she thought of a child who seemed to be very innocent. However, the child was too naughty and needed to be disciplined. She came back to her senses and responded, "Okay. I'll ask." At this time, in the male dormitory of Liecheng Art University. As soon as Guci came back, he received a call from Gu Yunshan. "My aunt wants to treat me to a meal." He was a little surprised. "She said she needs your help." "Go ahead. I'll tell you the time and address later. After that, go to your aunt's place to help cook some medicinal food and teach the nanny the amount of each meal." "Okay. I got it." Guci was curious that his aunt would ask him for help, but he thought it wouldn't be a big deal. He flipped through the knowledge points of the Level 6 exam and a bunch of teaching materials, and he was already familiar with them. He couldn't help but scribbled on the paper beside him. As he drew, the appearance of the long-haired woman came to life on the paper, but Guci drew her face fiercely, with two huge fists. Recalling something, he looked at the 100 yuan on the back of the phone case. It's really hard to pay this money back. After all, even if they meet that shrew again, it will be difficult for them to get along peacefully. The next day. A restaurant. Suman, who was wandering at the door, saw Guci coming towards him at a glance. Here, Tilda. Where's my aunt?" Guci looked around and saw only Suman. "She's busy and will come later. Let's go in first." Suman took Guci's arm directly. Guci looked puzzled. "You have to play my boyfriend today, Tilda," Suman whispered in Guci's ear. "I will pay you, Tilda." Chapter 10. It's useless even if your father comes. In an instant, Guci seemed to understand something. "My aunt asked me to help, isn't it this favor?" he asked. Smart Tilda, Suman pulled Guci into the restaurant, not giving him any chance to regret. "Let's go. Just make that brat give up." Why does this plot seem familiar? Guci was really forced to do something, but now he can only take it one step at a time. The waiter helped to push open a huge door, and Guci followed Suman into the private room. Man, you kid, you've delayed so much again." Su's father was stunned when he saw Guci next to Suman. Guci was also stunned. Because as soon as he entered the door, he met eyes with Wei Zhiheng, who was sitting opposite. Wei Zhiheng's eyes were full of doubts. Although the two did not talk, they had already experienced an unspeakable eye contact. Guci looked at Suman next to him and remained silent. Wei Zhiheng's blind date was Suman next to him. But why did he see Shi Qing when he went on a blind date on behalf of Wei Zhiheng that day? CPU is running at high speed. Man, today is a dinner party with your Uncle Wei's family. Who did you bring?" Father Su frowned. If there were no outsiders present, he would have scolded Suman a long time ago. Suman leaned towards Guci with pride, looking sweet. "Let me introduce you, this is my boyfriend, Guci." Puff. With one sentence, Wei Zhiheng, who was drinking water tactically just now, spurted out the water. Father Su's face became even uglier, and Father Wei was silent. "Uncle Wei, I'm still young and pay special attention to the appearance of my partner, so it's normal to find a good-looking boyfriend." Suman took Guci's arm, and her words were almost like saying that Wei Zhiheng was not as handsome as Guci. Father Su slammed the table. Man. How can you talk like that? Zhiheng is still here, you should spend more time with him instead of getting to know these questionable people." TSK. Wei Zhiheng laughed accidentally, but quickly switched to a serious face. Uncle Su, calm down, it's not Man's fault for what happened today. I'm not good enough, there's plenty of time in the future, don't rush. Even if there are more obstacles, I'm willing to get along with Man slowly. After saying that, he looked at Suman with a loving face. Guci was shocked. Wei Zhiheng actually stabbed him in the back. What about saying that he didn't like her? Maybe he was tempted by her beauty? After all, Suman has a curvy figure, plump and pretty. If she were in their school, she would definitely be one of the best beauties in the school. Why, do you want plastic surgery? Suman said bluntly. Wei Zhiheng smiled, it's not impossible. Beep a message on the phone. Guci looked down and saw it was from Wei Zhiheng. Wei, give me a favor, you can set the reward. Seeing Wei Zhiheng's pleading eyes, Guci thought about countermeasures. His cheap aunt only asked him to help, but didn't say whether it must be done or not. After a moment, he pulled back his hand that was held by Suman and stood up. I was lucky enough to hear about Master Wei before, but I didn't expect to see him today, and he was so extraordinary. I don't seem to have the qualifications to get entangled with Master Wei's fiancée. I am so ashamed. Guci spoke passionately, and then under the doubtful eyes of several people, he sighed and said to Suman, I'm sorry, Miss Su, I'm not worthy of you. I wish you and Master Wei a happy marriage and a son soon. After speaking, Wei Zhiheng was very satisfied and nodded to Guci imperceptibly. Brothers. Hey, you are saying something against your will with this face. Suman was a little annoyed. I'm not suitable for this, I'd better leave first. Guci said as he was about to run away. Tap, tap, tap. Suddenly, footsteps were heard outside the private room. The moment Guci pushed open the door of the private room, the person outside also happened to open the door of the private room. Seeing the face under the sunglasses, Guci was stunned. Shi Qing. Before Guci could ask why Shi Qing was here, he saw several people in the private room coming over at some point. Chairman Shi, why are you here too? It's really lively today. Since you're here, let's get together. Father Su and Father Wei both enthusiastically invited Shi Qing to come in and sit down. No. Shi Qing decisively refused, looking at Guci with his eyes. Qing. Suman came to Shi Qing like she was complaining, whispering what had just happened, and complained, look at your little nephew, he is so disobedient. Little nephew. Shi Qing narrowed his eyes slightly, and said in disbelief, Guci. Your name is Guci. Guci was also shocked, pointing at Shi Qing and asked Suman, my aunt, is she? Yes. So you haven't met formally yet? Suman said. Guci suddenly felt like the sky was falling. He kept thinking about what happened with Shi Qing before. It's over. Everyone. I think I have some important things to deal with, so I'll leave first. We'll meet again another day. After Shi Qing said that, with a cold face, he pulled Guci out. Suman sighed, Dad, you know now, Guci is not a bad person, he is the nephew of the chairman of Shisha Films. Father Su wiped his sweat, I didn't say he was a bad person. This chapter is not over yet, please click the next page to continue reading. Let go, if you do this again, I will call someone. Guci was blocked in a corner outside the restaurant by Shi Qing. It's useless even if your father comes. Shi Qing pinched Guci's face, you are so bold, pretending to be someone else to go on a blind date. And your words and deeds are bad, your father said you are well behaved and honest. It's all misunderstanding, not what you think. I didn't know you would go on a blind date on behalf of Miss Su. I'm sorry. Guci smiled awkwardly. Although he wanted to escape, he still apologized sincerely, but this sudden super generation made him feel a little uncomfortable facing Shi Qing at this moment. Which time are you apologizing? Shi Qing asked. Every time. Hearing this, Shi Qing pulled Guci to the car not far away. Guci dared not resist and was directly pulled into the car by Shi Qing. Where are you going, aunt? Guci asked weakly. Of course my home. Shi Qing glanced at Guci unhappily, didn't brother Gu tell you that my nanny didn't know the dosage of medicinal materials? I knew you were coming, so I followed Suman to pick you up. I didn't expect to give me such a big surprise. Can you please not tell my dad? Guci said. After all, if Gu Yunshan knew about this, he would nag him for a few days. Are you saying that you broke my water, or that you went on a blind date for someone else and insulted me? If you complain to my dad, I will complain too. Guci was desperate and it was difficult to speak, you touched me, there in the hotel bathroom. Shi Qing frowned slightly, then smiled and asked, where? Chapter 11 This child is not like you. The driver in the front seat was frantically digesting the conversation between the two. He glanced at the rearview mirror in the car with a look of disbelief. It's right there. Don't ask when you know the answer. Guci said. Oh tilde there. Shi Qing's eyes slowly moved to between Guci's legs. Yours is too ordinary. I don't remember it. Guci was silent for a long time before he couldn't help asking, "Do you think I'm small? I was going to ask you something." Shi Qing looked down at his chest. "Does it really look like a failed operation?" "No, no, no. I was just talking nonsense that day to mess up the blind date," Guci quickly denied. "It's actually very big and plump, very perfect." He unconsciously remembered the touch he felt that day. "I could feel the warmth, softness, and fullness of my palms through my clothes." Shi Qing crossed his arms over his chest, and his breasts rose. He said with a smug look on his face, "Okay, Tilda, I won't tell your dad for the time being because you praised me." "For the time being? It depends on your performance." Shi Qing looked at Guci, "Call me and let me hear it." Thinking of what happened between the two of them before, Guci was thin-skinned and a little reluctant, but he could only speak obediently. "Aunt." "Hey Tilda." Seeing Shi Qing's smug smile deepen, Guci always felt like he was caught and was completely controlled by Shi Qing. Dongcheng community. Guci followed Shi Qing into the community, and the two entered the elevator. Shi Qing suddenly thought of something and asked, "By the way, do your parents know that you have a girlfriend in college?" "I haven't told them," Guci said. After all, it was all a deal between him and Su Lingyan. "I'm really curious about how you got a girlfriend." "I didn't want a girlfriend, she confessed to me." "You agreed as soon as she confessed, so you should be satisfied with her." "Tell me, what type of girl is that?" "Don't try to trick me, I don't want my parents to know about this." "I heard that at your age, if you're in a relationship and hide it, it's just for fun." After that, Shi Qing approached Guci and whispered, "Could it be that you're actually a little scumbag? Everyone who knows me says that I, Guci, can only be played with." "Flirt." Shi Qing smiled and lifted Guci's chin with 2 fingers, his eyes rolling. "Nephew, let me play too. If you do this again, I'll tell my dad." Guci looked at Shi Qing with a vigilant look in his eyes, and took 2 steps back to keep a safe distance from Shi Qing. Ding, the elevator door opened. "You are already old, but you are still so unruly. Why did my dad recognize you as his sister?" Guci was right and kept complaining, not noticing a familiar figure standing at the elevator door behind him. Shi Qing smiled gently at the direction behind Guci, "Sister Shu, you are here." Guci turned around with a little disdain, saying, "Old liar, if I believe you, I will." In an instant, he met Shushi's angry eyes. "Mom? Why are you here?" Guci was frozen in place, and before he could react, he was dragged out of the elevator by Shushi. "You kid! How can you talk to your aunt? She is your elder after all. Is this how your dad and I taught you to be rude?" Shushi rarely gets angry, but now she is so angry that she grabs Guci's ears directly. No, Mom, you calm down first." Guci wanted to explain, but he felt that he had no words to say. He could only look at Shi Qing, who was walking out of the elevator slowly, for help, with his eyes full of, "You should say something." However, the latter just sighed deeply and stopped Shushi from grabbing Guci's hand. "Sister Shu, don't talk about Xiao Ci. He is still young. Suddenly, I have an aunt. It is understandable that he is resistant. Although I am not good at getting along with the younger generation, I am a mother after all. I will get along with him slowly in the future and strive to be close to him as soon as possible, just like a real family," Shi Qing said, looking at Guci with a kind look. Guci was so angry that he couldn't speak. He naively thought that Shi Qing had a change of heart. "Look at your aunt." Shushi patted Guci's back, "You are such a jerk." Then she looked at Shi Qing with an apologetic look, "I just came to see you today, so I won't stay any longer. If there is anything that makes you unhappy, just educate him. He has no emotional intelligence since he was a child, so don't spoil him." "Okay Tilda, then I won't see you off, sister-in-law, goodbye." After seeing Shushi off, Shi Qing looked at Guci, who had just been beaten, with a smile on her face, then took the key to open the door and made a "please" gesture. "Come in, nephew." Guci had seen the woman's routine today, so he simply didn't say anything to avoid saying the wrong thing, and angrily went into the house. "Wow!" A loud cry came into his ears. At the same time, Guci saw that Shi Qing's originally smiling eyebrows and eyes quickly calmed down, but he still couldn't hide his worries. What's going on? Shi Qing even forgot to change his shoes and walked straight to the crib. Boss, you don't know that the child often cries when you are not around. When Miss Su was here before, it was useless for both of us to coax her. The nanny said, handing the bowl of flour to Shi Qing. Ruan is good, Ruan is good. Shi Qing held Ruan, coaxed her softly, and rocked her gently. The crying soon subsided. Guci walked to Shi Qing and looked at the baby in Shi Qing's arms, his eyes full of curiosity. Ruan. What's her full name? Before in the hospital, Guci only cared about Shi Qing and never looked at the baby straight in the eye. Shi Ruan. Shi Qing said. Guci was stunned for a moment. Is your husband's surname also Shi? Shi Qing felt helpless about Guci's train of thought, and only said, Ruan takes my surname. Guci looked at Ruan's little face, then looked at Shi Qing's big face, comparing them back and forth. This child doesn't look like you. He came to this conclusion. Shi Qing rolled her eyes at Guci, my biological child. If she doesn't look like me, does she look like you? Is there a possibility that she looks like your husband? Guci touched his chin and analyzed. Shi Qing then realized that he had been misled by Guci's train of thought. If the child doesn't look like the mother, then doesn't it look like the father? I think there are some parts that look like me. Shi Qing looked at Ruan with love in his eyes. At this time, the nanny looked at Guci and Ruan and smiled. Boss, what a coincidence, Ruan and your nephew both have a mole on the back of their hands. Shi Qing then noticed that there was a mole on the back of Ruan's hand in a similar position to Guci. Chapter 12 Little Nephew, Too Easy to be Manipulated. There are always so many coincidences in this world. As she said this, she saw Ruan's little hand slowly reaching out to Guci. Guci tentatively reached out his hand. Ruan held one of Guci's fingers and grinned. Oh, boss, Ruan rarely smiles. It seems that she likes this nephew, the nanny said excitedly. Guci looked at the little girl holding his finger, and an inexplicable emotion surged in his heart, as if some emotion was awakened. I like her too. Very cute. He said, and pulled his finger away. Unexpectedly, just after pulling it away, Ruan's little face wrinkled and she cried again. Guci ignored it and went directly to the nanny who was cooking, and wrote down the dosage and taboos of each medicinal material sent before to the nanny. Shi Qing walked to Guci's side with Ruan in his arms. The chubby little hand was still reaching out to Guci, and she was babbling. You, help her to comfort her, she wants to find you. Shi Qing handed Ruan over helplessly, wait until she falls asleep. Guci imitated Shi Qing's behavior and held Ruan very unfamiliarly. This was the first time he held a child in his own hands. Ruan was as heavy as a cat, warm, soft, and faintly had a wonderful milky fragrance. Ruan was in Guci's arms, smiling happily, grabbing with two small hands and kicking with joy. Shi Qing also unconsciously showed a gentle smile. The confinement nanny next to him looked at this scene and couldn't help but think it was a family of three. She stretched out her hand to Guci, let me use your mobile phone. Guci held Ruan in both hands, not daring to move, so he could only signal with his eyes to the right pocket of his pants. Shi Qing then reached into the right pocket of Guci's pants and fumbled. Guci frowned slightly and looked at Shi Qing uncomfortably. This action inevitably reminded him of himself that day. Shi Qing maintained herself well, with smooth palms. If you ignore her mature and voluptuous figure, she looks like a female college student in her early 20s. Shi Qing touched something and was a little confused. What is so? Realizing something, Shi Qing's face changed instantly, and the whole person was stunned on the spot. Guci sighed, you have touched it before, don't you know what it is? You. Shi Qing clenched his fist, but because Guci was holding something soft in his hand, he controlled himself from hitting him. Seeing Guci's calm face, she stopped the words she wanted to curse. Not serious. She opened WeChat with Guci's mobile phone, operated it and returned it to Guci. I added my WeChat for you. She said, reminding, you have a lot of unread WeChat messages in your phone. Guci hummed lightly, then held Ruan and sat on the sofa. Under his comfort, Ruan soon closed her eyes and fell asleep obediently. He carefully put Wan on the crib, covered her with a quilt, and tiptoed away, fearing that the little guy would cry again. Are you leaving? I'll take you there. Shi Qing also lowered his voice. No need. Feed your baby well. Guci quickly slipped away, and when he reached the door, he suddenly remembered something and stopped. He took out his mobile phone, took out the 100 yuan clipped behind the phone case, put it on the shoe cabinet at the door, and left. Shi Qing was slightly surprised and murmured, he actually carried this 100 yuan with him. This child is really persistent. Guci went downstairs to the community and looked at WeChat. There were indeed many new messages, all from Su Lingyan. He only read the last one. Yin, I got Master Wang's manuscript. Let's meet. The moment he saw this message, Guci's pupils trembled slightly, and excitement surged in his heart. He ran out of the community and then took a taxi nearby. At this time, Shi Qing upstairs watched Guci running fast, and seemed to understand something vaguely. Although he showed that he didn't like it, he ran to meet him happily when the other party mentioned the manuscript. My little nephew, you are too easy to guess. She smiled and called her assistant. I remember that Shisha had cooperated with several Chinese painting masters before. Go and help me contact them. Liaoqing Art University. Because Guci's reputation as a genius in the school was extremely loud, Guci went straight to the female dormitory, and the dormitory manager didn't ask. When he arrived at the 101 dormitory where Su Lingyan was, he knocked on the door. The door of the dormitory opened quickly, and a girl who was applying a facial mask opened the door. The moment she saw that it was Guci, the girl was surprised and happy. Before Guci could explain his purpose, he closed the door in a panic. Yes, it's Guci. After closing the door, the girl immediately informed several roommates, and the mask on her face fell off because of excitement. Su Lingyan, who was also taking care of her skin in the dormitory, smiled. She knew that Guci, the painting fanatic, would come running over. Although the other two girls were also excited, they quickly calmed down. Why are you so excited? Guci is Yinin's boyfriend. Right? Yinyan. One of the girls said. Unexpectedly, Su Lingyan was just indifferent, and said arrogantly, maybe I'm used to getting along with Guci. He took the initiative to find me, but I wasn't excited. Maybe it's the dull period. I really envy you, Yinyan. It's okay that your boyfriend is the school hunk of Liaoning University, but there's also Jiang Minute from the sculpture department. The girl said casually, but before she finished speaking, she was given a cold look by Su Lingyan, and she could only shut her mouth and stop talking. After all, it was the school hunk who came, and the other three girls even tidied up their appearance and put away the clothes in the dormitory. However, Su Lingyan glanced at the behavior of the three girls indifferently, snorted coldly, walked straight to the door, opened the door and went out, and closed the door directly, not giving the three girls a chance to contact Guci at all. You came quickly, Tilder, Su Lingyan smiled sweetly. I'm here to get the manuscript. Guci said straightforwardly. Su Lingyan had expected this, so she naturally took Guci's hand and said in a soft voice, let's go to another place to chat, Tilder. Guci was pulled by Su Lingyan all the way to the rooftop of the school library. Su Lingyan walked around the rooftop through the protective net and breathed in the fresh air. Do you remember that I first met you here? At that time, you were the focus of attention in school and were often watched in the studio, so you came here with your drawing board to paint, and I was attracted by you. She said, turning back to show Guci a gentle smile that was different from usual. Remember? Guci nodded. I didn't expect someone to come to the rooftop, it's so sad. What's sad? Think about it, if it wasn't for that time, I might not have noticed you, and if I didn't notice you, we wouldn't be dating. Su Lingyan tried to evoke the good memories of her first meeting with Guci in her words and guided Guci's thinking. Chapter 13. What are you hiding from? I am your aunt. Seeing Guci pondering for a moment, Su Lingyan thought that Guci was moved by this wave of memories and couldn't help but smile triumphantly. That day, it was my fault. My tone was not good. You know my temper. I hope you don't take it to heart. But I was only wrong in being rude to you. It's not that I have any shameful relationship with Jiang Wen. Don't misunderstand me. Guci. Su Lingyan walked to Guci and took his arm. Let's make peace. Don't say anything about breaking up in the future, okay? Guci said nonchalantly, I didn't take those things to heart. Su Lingyan was surprised and happy at once. Really? Then you said you wanted to break up that day. I was so sad at that time. Really? Guci's face was full of sincerity. I only care whether you can get me the manuscripts of famous masters. I want to continue to learn from them. Even if you don't come to me today, I will try to win you back when I am free. What? Su Lingyan's face changed drastically, and his expression froze on his face. She realized that Guci was still unmoved, so she simply took out the prepared manuscript and asked, Do you want it? Of course, I came here for it. Guci said. Su Lingyan's voice was a little coquettish, as long as you promise me that you will no longer associate with Xie Huaning, and show your affection with me more often in the circle of friends, I will give it to you, and I can even help you get a book collected by a famous author. No. Guci refused. He regarded Xie Huaning as a good friend, not to mention that Xie Huaning often helped his family's clinic. His parents liked Xie Huaning very much. How could they not associate with each other if the two families were good friends? You don't even agree to this. Do you like her? Do you know what those people in school say? I am obviously your girlfriend, but I became the extra one between you and her. Su Lingyan was ignited with anger. Why are you angry? We don't have any feelings for each other. Guci felt that Su Lingyan was a little puzzled. I don't care about your random little requests, but if you insist on making such excessive requests, I still say the same thing, break up, and find someone else who can cooperate with you to show your affection. Seeing Guci was about to leave, Su Lingyan was anxious and quickly chased after him. Here you are. Isn't it enough for you? She stuffed the draft into Guci's hand and said impatiently, You just need to take a photo with me here today, okay? Guci had already accepted the draft, so he had to perfunctorily take a photo, and then left quickly. Su Qing posted a circle of friends. The content was recalling with you at the place where we first met, that irreplaceable happiness. I deliberately put double quotation marks around irreplaceable to emphasize it, as if I posted it for someone to see. After walking out of the library, Guci heard many students whispering about something along the way. The most important thing was that they kept looking at him, as if they were talking about something related to him. Classmate, what happened? Guci casually asked a passing classmate. Senior Guci, you will know if you go to the school gate. The classmate smiled gossipingly and ran away quickly. Hearing this, Guci walked towards the school gate. The discussion became louder and louder. When he pushed through the crowd and saw the scene at the gate, his pupils trembled. Several sports cars stopped at the school gate, and the black Ferrari surrounded in the middle had a banner hanging on it. The most beloved baby of Guci. Shi. After seeing the familiar face in the back seat of the car, Guci stared at the banner again, and was so angry that he couldn't speak. He subconsciously wanted to escape from here, but he didn't know that the voice behind him sounded. Guci. Shi Qing opened the car door and got out. A tall and plump figure, with a curvy figure, no one could tell that she had given birth to a child. Coupled with her unique mature temperament, many male college students could not take their eyes away. She walked straight to Guci and handed him a coat, which was the coat that Guci gave her to cover her chest outside the hotel. You left in such a hurry when you went to my house last time that I forgot to return your clothes. Guci was stunned when he took the clean clothes. Is it necessary to make such a scene to return clothes? Go quickly. Guci kept signaling with his eyes, and he was about to lose face. Shi Qing smiled and put his arm around Guci's shoulders intimately. I'm not here just to bring you clothes. Many classmates were watching the fun, and some were taking photos and videos. Although Guci turned his back to the camera as much as possible. I don't want it, leave quickly, and take down the banner. Guci pushed Shi Qing into the car. Little did he know that Shi Qing grabbed Guci's arm while Guci was pushing him into the car, and dragged Guci into the car. Guci threw himself on Shi Qing unexpectedly. Colliding with the softness again, Guci was still in a trance for a moment. Hearing a long sigh outside, Guci came back to his senses and planned to get up from Shi Qing, but unexpectedly the other party hugged him tightly. Shi Qing chuckled in Guci's ear, and in an instant, the noise outside seemed to return to silence, and that laugh was infinitely magnified in Guci's mind. "Why are you hiding? I'm your aunt," she whispered. "You also know that you are my aunt, you." Just as Guci was about to criticize Shi Qing's behavior, he saw Shi Qing take out a notebook and open it to show it in front of him. Seeing the sloppy and majestic writing, Guci instantly forgot everything and stared at every stroke of the pen, as if it was a work that was completed in one go when inspiration gushed out. Judging from the technique, it looks very much like Master Chi's original work, a freshly baked original work. "Aunt, where did this come from?" He looked well behaved. Shi Qing smiled proudly. "How can I talk to you if you put pressure on my aunt like this?" Guci immediately helped Shi Qing up respectfully and closed the car door. "This little notebook, I took it from an old man's desk to fan myself when I went to see him. He didn't stop me, so I kept it. I heard that you can draw, so I brought it to you to see, but..." Shi Qing said, sighing melancholy, "Alas, you, my elder brother and sister-in-law are my only relatives in China, but I didn't expect you to be so annoyed with me, let alone get along with me. It seems that it will be difficult for your father to teach you." Chapter 14. This child is quite cute. "No. It's not like that." Guci apologized quickly. "I'm sorry, aunt, I didn't mean that, I'm not annoyed with you." "Really? Do you like aunt?" Shi Qing deliberately teased. Guci pointed to the little notebook in Shi Qing's hand. "Then can you lend it to me? I'll give it to you. This kind of thing is of no use to me. You can have as many as you want." Shi Qing handed the little notebook to Guci directly. "Thank you, aunt, I like it very much." Guci couldn't put it down and looked at the book. There are many painters he admires, and the paintings in the book in front of him are from one of them. "What about me?" Shi Qing held his chin with one hand and looked at Guci sideways. "I like it." Guci did not hesitate. "Then will you listen to my teachings?" Shi Qing touched Guci's head. "Yes. You are the elder," Guci said. Shi Qing smiled and said, "Break up with your girlfriend." "Why?" Guci was puzzled. Shi Qing covered Guci's hand with his hand and said earnestly, "Because this is a meaningless relationship, it will waste time and energy, you don't need to talk about it. In the future, aunt will slowly teach you more truths. In the future, if you need anything in painting, or want to ask any senior, aunt will be able to help you arrange it." Hearing this, Guci said in surprise, "Even going to see Senior Chi is okay? Of course, I can take you to his residence." Shi Qing smiled dotingly. Guci nodded immediately, "Okay. Auntie, I'll send her a message now." He quickly told Su Lingyan about the breakup. He and Su Lingyan used to use each other, but now Shi Qing is much more useful than Su Lingyan, so of course he will choose one of the two. Xiao Ci is so good. Shi Qing looked at Guci with satisfaction. Because there were many people gathered at the school gate, she asked the driver to drive away first, and when the people dispersed, she let Guci leave, and gave Guci a box of macarons. The assistant in the front passenger seat looked at Guci's back as he left, and the car started. She couldn't help asking questions. "Director Shi, you specifically asked me to bring a lot of rare supplements to visit Mr. Chi and took away the sketchbook that Mr. Chi used every day, just to give it to your nephew. He likes to study painting so much, it's not a waste to give it to him." Shi Qing took out his laptop and continued to work. "Besides, my elder brother asked me to teach him more, and he is about to graduate." The assistant looked at the rearview mirror in the car, was silent for a moment, and suddenly realized. "Director Shi, do you want your nephew to enter Shisha directly after graduation?" she asked. Unexpectedly, Shi Qing just smiled and shook his head. Children still need experience, even if they want to enter, it's not now. However, this child is quite cute, I am willing to witness his growth. Evening, Su's house. Suman was applying a facial mask, and the phone next to her kept ringing. The chat interface on the screen kept sending messages from the other side. Wei Zhiheng sent a series of messages. Man, if you are not free tomorrow, how about the day after tomorrow? I can be your exclusive driver and take you for a ride tilde. I heard from Uncle Su that you like shopping in the mall. How about I go shopping with you? All the expenses are on me." Suman turned a deaf ear to the ding-dong-dong sound of the mobile phone message, turned up the volume of the speaker, listened to the cultural relics explanation inside, and calmed her mind. Second sister. Second sister. Suddenly, a noise broke the silence. Suman got up from the sofa in annoyance. In the hall downstairs, Su Lingyan was howling like a ghost, stamping her feet anxiously. Second sister. Where are you? Yin Yin. Suman sat up and saw Su Lingyan's bitter face, and asked curiously, You go to school happily every day, and don't have to work to deal with things, why are you still frowning? Second sister. You don't know that I was asked to break up. Su Lingyan told how she received the news of breaking up from GUCI and how she couldn't contact GUCI. She looked unbelievable, as if she didn't expect GUCI to suddenly break up with her, or after they recalled the past. He is simply a scumbag. Not only did he break up with me after taking my things, but he also got into another woman's car in public at the school gate. It is said that she is an old woman driving a Ferrari. Now the whole school is laughing at me. Su Lingyan was obviously very angry, and there was a crying tone in her voice, as if she had suffered a great injustice. Suman was older after all, so she didn't care and said, It's no big deal. If they break up, then they break up. How can our Su family's daughter not find a man? Su Lingyan sat next to Suman angrily and emphasized, The point is that he broke up first. I should have mentioned it first. Now it seems like he dumped me. Then what do you want to do? Suman pinched her eyebrows, supported her head with one hand, and lifted her face with a massager. Su Lingyan looked proud, as if she had already planned it, and begged, Second sister, can you help me find a few seniors in the Chinese painting world and ask for some of their drawings? I want GUCI to beg me to reconcile with him, and then when he can't leave me, I will dump him in return. You are too naive. Suman paused, and suddenly became energetic. Who did you say you were reconciling with? GUCI, what's wrong? Su Lingyan looked confused. Suddenly, Suman stood up, and half of the mask fell off. Your boyfriend's name is GUCI. Isn't someone's nephew called GUCI? And he seems to drive a Ferrari most often. This chapter is not finished yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. Yes, is there any problem? Su Lingyan looked up at Suman, who was shocked, and was even more puzzled. Suman was silent for a moment, calmed down, and had some guesses in her mind. Yin Yin, second sister tells you, don't provoke that GUCI, his parents have a bad temper, and he is not the only man left in your liuda, don't be obsessed with him. She said earnestly. After all, she knew very well that GUCI was Shi Qing's nephew, and Shi Qing's most common car was Ferrari. Who else could the old woman Suman mention be if not Shi Qing? She didn't want Suman to disturb Shi Qing's training of GUCI. Su Lingyan got up angrily and walked away directly. No one has dared to do this to me in my life. Second sister, just forget it if you don't help me. Liaoqing University of Arts, male dormitory. For an entire afternoon, GUCI was still flipping through their book page by page. Still reading? It's hard to expect you to bring me food. The roommate came over and glanced at the book GUCI was reading. Suddenly, his eyes were pulled back. He looked at the signature carefully and said in surprise, Damn. Are you imitating Qi Lao? GUCI was stunned, then smiled sweetly, Yes, I'm imitating. Roll it up. Zhao Cheng hugged GUCI's neck in a mean way and asked, How long are you going to read? I heard that the cafeteria has added extra food today, which is super rich and has Western food. Do you want me to bring you food? You don't have to call me Dad Tilder. Is there any activity in the cafeteria? GUCI asked. Although the cafeteria of Liuda has always been good, clean and sanitary, and the taste is also satisfactory, I have never heard of sudden extra food. No. I heard that some distinguished guests are coming. People in the next dormitory said that the school leaders have gone to the cafeteria. There should be a lot of people there. I'll go over to eat later. I'm not hungry now. GUCI thought that Zhao Cheng was still thinking about his meal, and suddenly felt a little guilty. He added, By the way, the manuscript in this book is the manuscript of Mr. Qi himself. If you want to read it, you can come with me later. I just need to study it these few days. Fuck. GUCI, you are such a dog. At this time, the cafeteria. A separate area was cordoned off on the first floor. The school leaders and several students sat aside, their eyes were all on the woman in the main seat, and they wore masks and sunglasses tightly. Director Shi, why did you suddenly want to cooperate with our school? It's really an honor. Chapter 15 Just Caring? It's nothing. I just thought that my children will go to college in the future, so I wanted to ask Principal Chen to worry about it in advance. As Shi Qing spoke, he looked towards the crowd in the cafeteria imperceptibly, as if he was looking for something. President Shi's child. Principal Chen and other school leaders beside him looked at each other in bewilderment. If the gossip is correct, your child is still in swaddling clothes, right? That's why I said it was in advance. Shi Qing smiled, as if he thought the reason was too far-fetched, and changed the subject. There are not many male students in your school. Yes, there are indeed fewer boys than girls in our school, said Principal Chen. Seeing that Shi Qing was eating very slowly, Principal Chen asked nervously, is the food not to your liking? Shi Qing would say, no, it's so delicious that I savored it slowly. Principal Chen had originally heard some rumors about Shi Qing and thought that Shi Qing would be difficult to get along with, but now he finally breathed a sigh of relief. At this time, the female students who were eating at several tables in the distance were all looking towards the door, and when they found a figure in the crowd, they were delighted. It's Senior Guci. He's here so late again today. Maybe he's painting in his dorm again, forgetting to eat and sleep. His white shirt looks so handsome even with paint on it. Faintly hearing the name, Guci, Shi Qing's ears seemed to stretch infinitely, and he wished he could get close to those girls and eavesdrop. Principal Chen noticed that Shi Qing was listening to their voice behind him, so he laughed and said, President Shi, please forgive me for making a fool of myself. The children really like to chat in the cafeteria. How can it be funny? The living atmosphere in your school is very good. As Shi Qing said this, he turned around and saw a child in a white shirt getting his meal. She stared at the white light and said hurriedly, Principal Chen, please find a few more students to take a photo with me. I really want to leave my photo in your school. Okay. No problem. Principal Chen had wanted to take a photo together for a long time, but he had not mentioned it because he was afraid that Shi Qing would be offended. This was exactly what he wanted. But the next moment, Shi Qing stood up and walked out. Don't bother Principal Chen, I'll find it myself. Principal Chen and several school leaders were all confused. They saw Shi Qing walking towards Guci with a clear purpose. Guci, who had just finished his meal, was directly pulled over. He alone is enough. As Shi Qing spoke, he took off his sunglasses and mask, and signaled the assistant beside him to take a photo immediately. Guci held the plate, looking puzzled, why are you? Before he could finish his words, his waist was grabbed and Shi Qing patted him down as if to tease Guci. Why did you slap my butt? Guci's small eyes were filled with confusion, and he was wary of his aunt again. Ahem. Shi Qing had no choice but to withdraw her hand. Like a female hooligan who had been caught, she had to explain, sister was careless. Guci? Sister? Not only did this weirdo suddenly come to his school and touch his butt, but he also called himself a sister. Well, Guci, President Shi appreciates you, so why don't you take a photo together alone? Principal Chen was also very considerate. After all, he had accepted someone else's things, so Guci didn't say anything and stood over obediently, but kept a distance of 2 fists from Shi Qing. But the next moment, his waist was hugged without warning, and the two were close to each other. It's better to take pictures if you get closer. Don't be shy. Shi Qing chuckled in Guci's ear. As the two of them got close, the assistant pressed the shutter button continuously, and then showed the finished product to Shi Qing. Chairman, the photos are ready, please take a look. Not bad tilde. Shi Qing looked delighted, and showed it to Guci, whispering, we have a group photo. As long as you are happy. Guci's mind was full of the manuscript of Mr. Qi that Shi Qing gave him. Otherwise, it would be difficult for him to be so calm. Principal Chen, I have other work to deal with today, so I'll leave first. The cafeteria is delicious and I'll come here often in the future. Please stay. Shi Qing looked very satisfied with having achieved his goal. Okay, Director Shi. Guci, go and see Director Shi off. Principal Chen reminded Guci. Everyone present could see that Shi Qing was very fond of Guci from their school. Guci had no choice but to deal with it and escort Shi Qing all the way to the school gate. The driver opened the door, Shi Qing stopped beside the car, turned around and looked at Guci. I'm about to get in the car, why don't you say goodbye to me? Goodbye. Guci said without any emotion. Please include your name. Shi Qing insisted. Guci took a deep breath. Goodbye, aunt. Okay Tilder, Shi Qing smiled, his tone was like coaxing a child, I'll take you out to play this weekend. I've arranged for a photographer to take pictures of Wan, and I'll take a few pictures of you as well. I'm busy. I won't go. Please go slowly. Guci left without looking back. He thought to himself that he was not Shi Qing's child, so why did he have to bring him along when taking photos of the child? Besides, he had promised Xia wanting to go to a nearby dessert shop on the weekend. Shi Qing looked a little disappointed. After getting in the car, he posted a photo of himself and Guci in a group chat. Group name, A Peaceful and Happy Family 3 People. Qing, brother and sister-in-law, look, I went to the school to see my nephew today. He is very popular in the school funny.jpg. Gu Yunshan, it's true. This guy only has this face that looks like me sunglasses.jpg. Otherwise, no matter how good-natured a girl is, he would drive her away. Shushi, at Gu Yunshan, you are so shameless to say that. Disdain.jpg. On this side of the screen, Shi Qing was chatting with the two of them, with a smile that came from the bottom of his heart on his face. This chapter is not finished yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. Seeing this, the assistant in the front seat couldn't help but sigh, the chairman is in a better mood in China. Of course. There aren't many things to do in the domestic company, and there are very few projects that require my involvement. More importantly, my brother and sister-in-law are here, and I can see them anytime. Now. I have a fun little nephew, so of course I'm happy. When Shi Qing talked about Guci, all he could think of was Guci's silly little face. The assistant pushed up his glasses, looking like Sherlock Holmes, and analyzed, why do I feel that you, chairman, are particularly concerned about Guci? Not only did you go to visit Mr. Qi and give him his manuscript, but now during working hours, you, the chairman, are taking the lead in slacking off and came all the way to Liaoning University to take a photo. He is the son of my eldest brother and his wife. I am his elder. There is nothing wrong with caring for him more and building a good relationship with him. Shi Qing said, and quickly changed the subject, this Liao University, does it have a lot of study tasks during the weekdays? How come the kids don't even have time on weekends? Hearing this, the assistant almost couldn't help laughing out loud, and coughed lightly, Chairman, you have been in the business world for more than 10 years, how come you can't even hear such a lie now? Maybe the other person just doesn't want to go out with you, and just made up an excuse. For a moment, Shi Qing seemed to wake up from a dream, but then he thought again and felt something was wrong. He doesn't look like someone who habitually tells lies. He is just a simple-minded child, and he doesn't have as many thoughts as a businessman. That's true. The assistant thought for a moment, then there is only one possibility. Your little nephew may have an appointment. Chapter 16, A girl who is older than her husband has everything Tilder. You mean, he's dating a girl? Shi Qing looked incredulous. Your nephew is fair-skinned, has good grades, and is very popular. He is at the right age for love, so there must be girls rushing to date him. Hearing this, Shi Qing looked out the window, not knowing what he was thinking. It took him a long time before he could hold back and speak. Go check where the kid is dating. I'm his elder, so I have to keep an eye on him. Besides, my eldest brother and his wife are always concerned about his relationship status. If you are curious, just go. There is no need to find an excuse. There is nothing wrong for an aunt to care about her nephew. The assistant smiled meaningfully. Qi Rui, you have learned to laugh at me. Be careful or I will deduct your bonus. No, Mr. Shi, I still have to save money to marry my girlfriend. Sometimes I really envy you guys. Shi Qing murmured. She looked at the scenery receding inside the car, and recalled what she looked like when she was Qi Rui's age. At that time, she worked hard for her own life, day and night, until now when she had earned enough money and satisfied all her material needs, she realized that she had never gotten what she wanted from the beginning to the end. You now have hundreds of millions of assets, your business is thriving, and you have a daughter. If you ask me. Qi Rui paused, sighed, and persuaded, I have been with you for so long, and I have always known what you want. In this case, why don't you go back? It has been so many years, and your mother may have thought clearly about what happened back then. You have to fly abroad this year, so see your mother before you leave. We are blood relatives, so there is no barrier between us. Shi Qing's eyes were reflected on the passers-by outside, among whom was a family of 3. Somehow, his originally firm heart was finally shaken by the word family. Please arrange your schedule. I will go to see her next week. After she finished speaking, as if she was afraid that she would change her mind, she opened the Draw Me Guess game on her phone to divert her attention. Liaoqing Art University, male dormitory. What has irritated you, Wei Zhiheng? What a waste of paper. Zhao Cheng was shocked as he watched Wei Zhiheng draw one black sculpture sketch after another. Wei Zhiheng was drawing quickly and said calmly, "It's okay, it's your paper." "What the hell? I just bought some new paper." Zhao Cheng finally reacted and angrily complained to Guci beside him, "Guci, look at this guy, he is so shameless, he has so much paper but he doesn't use it, he uses other people's." Guci glanced at him and said casually, "I think he is immersed in love and confused, so he uses painting to distract himself." Hearing this, Wei Zhiheng put down his pen, looking extremely confused. "No. I'm just confused, how can Suman be so annoying to me? I sent so many messages but she didn't even respond to me. It's such a waste of time to date now. It would be better to wait until you want to get married." Guci said. Wei Zhiheng looked at Guci, shook his head, and his face was full of disappointment. "Although you are popular with women, what are you going to do with your head in the future? Stop worrying about useless things. With Master Gu's conditions, it doesn't matter what kind of wife he finds." Zhao Cheng said with a smile. Wei Zhiheng emphasized, "I'm afraid this kid is a henpecked man who has to listen to his wife in everything." Zhao Cheng touched his chin, thought of something, and slammed the table. "Then just find an older sister, who is generous, tolerant, mature and sensible, a good wife, and a perfect match for our Master Gu. Rich woman." Wei Zhiheng looked at Guci, sized her up and down, and suddenly felt that Guci really had this ability. His eyes were filled with "Don't forget me if you become rich. You guys are so free." Guci was helpless when the topic suddenly turned to himself. At this time, he saw his game friend QQ on his mobile phone was online, so he pulled his friend in and formed a team to start a game of drawing, guessing. "We are concerned about you." Wei Zhiheng moved the stool directly next to Guci. "Hey, let's interview you and ask you how much older you are than your sister." Being able to have a heart-beating feeling towards a member of the opposite sex should be acceptable to everyone. Guci said casually. Wei Zhiheng suddenly recalled a certain rhyme. "A girl who is 3 years older than a boy will have a lot of money. A girl who is 5 years older than a boy will be rich. A girl who is 8 years older than a boy will have everything. A girl who is 9 years older than a boy will have everything. What else is there? These are the only ones I remember." Flirt. Zhao Cheng couldn't help laughing. "He's 9 years older than you, and he has everything. 9 years older than you, doesn't that mean he's over 30? But don't let him already have a child. Do you want Master Gu to be his stepfather? Won't he be bullied?" Suddenly, Wei Zhiheng put his arm around Guci's shoulders like an old father. "I'm telling you, if you meet a rich woman who has money to take care of a child and is still single, don't hesitate. The child is not yours, but the woman is yours. Don't tell me that many rich women nowadays like young men like you. When you become rich, don't forget your brothers." Wei Zhiheng looked like he was crying, which made Guci look disgusted. He said firmly, "Age aside, I, Guci, will never be interested in a woman who is a mother." At this time, in the community, Shi Qing was playing drawing, guess, on the sofa. When she was pulled into the team by a great friend, she knew that she had it in hand. Soon it was her turn to draw, and the title was Turtle. Shi Qing thought for a moment, then switched to a green pen and drew a circle. Just as he began to add the lines on the turtle shell, he heard a "whoa" next to him. Ruan woke up and suddenly started crying. She immediately put down her phone and went to check on Ruan. She found that it was time to change Ruan's diaper, so she took out a new one and changed her diaper in an orderly manner. She was idle in the game, and the countdown for drawing ended. All players guessed it as a football based on their first thought. Guci in the bureau thought for a moment in front of the screen and typed the word turtle. After changing the diaper, Shi Qing came back and found that only Guci answered correctly in this round. You can guess this. She sent a message in the chat box. Guci quickly replied, because I noticed that you used a green brush. Draw according to the topic. As long as the person guessing analyzes the painter's intention and thinks about what the other person is thinking, there is a high probability that he will not be wrong. Qing, you sound so amazing, guess what I'm thinking about now? Ci, it seems like he is wondering how I am so smart. Shi Qing on the other side of the screen couldn't help but laugh. She and the man named C were friends in the game of You Draw, I guess. They would often play a game when they met online. Are all kids nowadays so straightforward? I'm really old and can't keep up with the times tilde. Shi Qing smiled and glanced at Wan, who was dancing in the crib beside him. She sent a good night message to her friend C and went offline. Looking back, she and this painting master named C have known each other for more than 3 years. Both of them are quiet and never speak on the microphone. I guess they only play painting to kill time in their spare time. Although they have not talked much, they get along very naturally. Inexplicably, she became curious about this familiar yet strange person whom she had known for 3 years. After all, she saw C's age in his profile, and he was only 23 years old, just a child, but he seemed a little old to her. Chapter 17, Secretly Giving Movie Tickets to Children. Liecheng Men's Dormitory. People say goodnight to you and you just reply with a hum. Zhao Cheng was sitting next to Guci eating snacks and looking at the chat interface on Guci's phone with an attitude of a master. Then what should I reply? Guci reached out and took a few potato chips. I'm saying this, but you two have been chatting for such a long time, and you're single, why don't you just ask that person out to meet up? There's no harm in getting to know a few girls. Zhao Cheng reminded earnestly. Just gaming friends. Guci said. I heard that you are going to date Xie Huaning again this weekend. You are so lucky. Wei Zhiheng on the bed opposite side. Although it's not a date, but how did you know? Guci was amazed at the power of gossip in school. Didn't Su Lingyan say on the school wall that she had a fight with you, and she also said that she would come back to you after you had enough fun? Hearing this, Guci suddenly felt helpless. He had clearly broken up with Su Lingyan, but he seemed to have overestimated Su Lingyan's ability to understand. On weekends, at a dessert shop near Lianing University, Xie Huaning wore a creamy white dress with puff sleeves, her long hair slightly curled and falling on her shoulders, decorated with a silk bow, looking gentle and cute. The weather is a bit cool, and warm taro paste is indeed the best, Xie Huaning said as she took a photo with her phone, and also included the dessert of Guci across from her. Although Guci was not in the photo, it was obvious that they were together, creating a sweet atmosphere. It's really delicious. Guci also agreed. Although he is a boy, which boy doesn't like sweets? The waiter quickly brought a serving of taro cheese brick and taro bobo cake. Xie Huaning mustered up her courage and said, Guci, I want to have a taste of yours. Is that okay? Okay, then I'll go get a small plate. Guci said as he stood up. Wait a minute. Xie Huaning quickly called Guci. She had anticipated Guci's train of thought. In this situation, if it were someone else, they would just feed the other person a mouthful and then implicitly kiss him indirectly. We each scoop our own spoonful and then exchange spoons. She didn't have too many extravagant hopes. Here you go. Guci generously scooped a large spoonful of taro bobo cake and placed it on Xie Huaning's plate. Xie Huaning also scooped up a piece of taro cheese, but then passed it to Guci, motioning him to open his mouth. You try it. She was so nervous that she almost forgot to breathe. Good. Guci took the spoon and took a bite, and then his eyes lit up. The cheese smells good. This is not bad either. Xie Huaning smiled awkwardly, and then said, Can you give me some more kisses? Bobo. Guci then remembered what bobo was, so he scooped a large spoonful of bobo beads from the middle of his taro bobo cake for Xie Huaning. Thank you, brother Tilder, Xie Huaning said with a smile, just like when she followed Guci when she was a child. She has done everything she should do and said everything she should say. Even though Guci did not cooperate with her at all, fortunately, she feels particularly good whenever she is with Guci. So what if he is a straight man? At this time, At another table not far away, Shi Qing was wearing sunglasses and observing the direction of Guci and Xie Huaning, biting the lemon slice on the cup absent-mindedly. "Chairman, this lemon is for decoration. Why are you eating it?" Qi Rui said, and took the opportunity of getting reimbursed to order a lot of desserts. Shi Qing came back to his senses and felt something sour in his mouth. He took the lemon slice and put it on the napkin. "You've been looking at it for so long, what have you figured out?" Qi Rui asked. "A nice girl, I like Guci very much at first sight. And I seem to have an impression of her. My elder brother and sister-in-law seem to have said that Guci had a playmate whom she had known since childhood. It should be this girl. She's very good." Shi Qing took a sip of the lemonade in the glass. After a while, Guci and Xie Huaning had almost finished eating. Seeing Guci pay the bill first, Xie Huaning was delighted, but still a little embarrassed. "I ordered a lot, it's too embarrassing to ask you to treat me, and it was obviously me who invited you here today. My parents always say that you often go to the clinic to help, so it's my duty to ask you to do so," Guci said. "Uncle and aunt have been very kind to me since I was a child. Besides, I am also very interested in Chinese medicine." Xie Huaning couldn't hide the smile on her face and didn't dare to look into Guci's eyes again. Qi Rui, who was not far away, was a little surprised. "Sure, Chairman, your nephew is not that straight. At least he knows to pay the bill when dating a girl. I almost thought he was going to split the bill with her." Shi Qing was not surprised. Even if the children raised by their elder brother and sister-in-law don't have high emotional intelligence, they will definitely be good at handling things. At this time, Guci asked for a takeaway box and packed up all the unfinished cakes. "Do you want to take some back to the dormitory for your roommate?" Guci asked Xie Huaning. Xie Huaning shook her head to indicate that it was not necessary. "Pack these untouched puffs together. My roommates will come to eat them whenever they are free. You should bring them to the boys in your dormitory." "Well, I'll put it on then. By the way, there is a new suspense movie coming out soon, called The Doubt. The supporting role of a portrait artist in the movie is very popular, and many people go to see it just for her. Should we go to see it together?" "It's next Wednesday," Xie Huaning suggested. "Next Wednesday." Guci thought about it. He preferred everything related to painting, so he agreed. "Then let's contact each other then." "Okay." Xie Huaning knew there was great hope, and she and Guci were smiling all the way as they left the dessert shop. Seeing the two leave, Shi Qing asked Qi Rui in confusion, "What new movie is this? How come I don't know about it? It's so similar to the setting of our latest movie." Qi Rui was stunned for a moment, looking at Shi Qing's clear eyes, and said weakly, "Is it possible that the suspicion they are talking about is our company's new movie?" "Really?" Shi Qing's eyes became clearer. "The final name of our new movie is Suspicion." Qi Rui held his forehead and said helplessly, "You are really stupid for 3 years after pregnancy. You only participated in part of the filming of this movie. The subsequent content was finalized by the project leader meeting. I guess you didn't pay attention to it. What a stupid name." Shi Qing murmured, then stood up with the bag, and did not forget to instruct Qi Rui, "Get 2 private movie tickets for the child, and don't tell him that they are from me." Chapter 18. Guci invites us to a movie? I can't say it's a gift from you. Then how can I give it to my colleague? Qi Rui looked confused and hurriedly ordered a lot of cakes to give to his colleagues. "You don't even have this little business ability, and you still want to earn money to marry a wife." Shi Qing strode away. "Why should women make things difficult for other women?" Qi Rui sighed. Fortunately, she had a dessert today and she could eat it and take it away, so it wasn't too bad. Liao University Men's Dormitory. I rely on so much. Godfather. Godfather. Zhao Cheng took the big bag of desserts from Guci's hand, his eyes shining. "Good son, chew slowly." Guci raised the corner of his mouth with satisfaction. "Okay, Godfather." Zhao Cheng shared the dessert with Wei Zhiheng again. Unexpectedly, Wei Zhiheng was sleeping soundly in the quilt. Zhao Cheng slapped Wei Zhiheng on the butt and shouted, "Still sleeping? Get up and eat delicious food." Wei Zhiheng then yawned and sat up, picking up a piece of taro paste cake. "Is it from the new dessert shop that opened near the school?" "I've never been there, it looks good." It's been open for several days, how come you, a rich man, haven't gone to eat there? Zhao Cheng was a little surprised, because Wei Zhihen was down to earth and had money. Whenever there was a new store near the school, Wei Zhihen would definitely go there to check it out first. Wei Zhihen looked miserable, don't mention it. I'm a poor loser now. My dad knows that I offended Miss Su, and he no longer gives me pocket money. You have come to this day. Zhao Cheng sneered mercilessly. Godfather, 2 godfathers, please treat me to a meal in the cafeteria tomorrow. Wei Zhihen hugged his thighs directly. Get out of here. Why do I really not believe that you won't leave yourself a way out? Zhao Cheng pushed Wei Zhihen away. Seeing that Li Feng was not in the dormitory, Guci left a box of puffs on Li Feng's desk, and then spoke as if he saw through everything. I think you want to save the money to ask Miss Su out. Zhao Cheng finally reacted and pointed at Wei Zhihen, angrily saying, You kid. Starve to death. Wei Zhihen laughed and changed the subject urgently. Guci, how was your date with Xie Huaning today? You don't know how many boys in our school have broken up after Xie Huaning asked you out. They are almost jealous of you. We're just having dessert together, stop gossiping. Guci said. Wei Zhihen was so disappointed. You are really stupid. Anyone with a discerning eye can see that the way Xie Huaning looks at you is different from the way she looks at others. It's obvious that she has a crush on you. The childhood sweethearts have started the game. If you don't hurry up and get her, you'll be in trouble. Guci sighed. I have known her since we were very young, and we are indeed childhood sweethearts who grew up together, but childhood sweethearts don't necessarily have to be together. I am sure that I have no feelings for her between a man and a woman, and I will never have any in the future. I just want to treat her as a sister. Xie Huaning is beautiful, hardworking, and well-rounded. You don't like her? Zhao Cheng was amazed, but he suddenly thought of something and looked at Guci with a strange look. Brother, your ideal type is not really a big sister type, right? Wei Zhihen also realized something and looked at Guci with a smirk on his face. Okay, Guci, I recognize your taste. Guci was too lazy to explain and looked at a pile of books on child psychology. One of his little dreams a long time ago was to teach many children to draw. Now he has a certificate in hand. After graduation, he will apply for a job as an art teacher near his parents' clinic. In his free time, he can help his parents with the clinic. After all, his parents have always respected his choice and his love of painting. He also needs to value his parents' hard work for most of their lives and help them as much as he can so that they don't have to work so hard. Ziz, the phone vibrates. Guci picked up the phone and found it was an unfamiliar number, but it was from the same city. He answered the phone and a very official male voice came from the other end. Hello, is this Mr. Gu? The Mandarin is quite standard, with ups and downs, just like the official customer service. Who? Guci asked. I am the person in charge of Mingyu Cinema. At the request of my superiors, I am offering free tickets to promote the new movie, Suspicion. Congratulations on being selected as the lucky audience. You are eligible to watch the movie for free in the Mingyu VIP Cinema. If you have someone with you, you can also go together to watch the movie and write a 100-word review afterward. Chi Rui on the other end of the phone deliberately finished speaking in one breath. Please say it again at 0.8x speed, I didn't hear it clearly. Guci said. He does this almost every time when he has something to ask customer service or is handling some business and can't hear clearly what the customer service staff are saying. Chi Rui on the other end of the phone had to slow down and repeat what he had just said. Does free movie watching mean that you can go directly to the theater to watch without buying a ticket? Guci asked. Yes, sir. I don't believe it. Chi Rui's brain was working rapidly. Then we will give you the money from the movie ticket in cash, sir. Do you think this is possible? The main point is to keep the luck. Can I take anyone I want? The topic finally came to the point, and Chi Rui quickly suggested, of course. You can bring your friends of the opposite sex. Then I want the money for 250 tickets. Guci said. He was talking nonsense. He had never encountered such a good thing in his life. He didn't hold out any hope at all. He just teased the customer service. Chi Rui's brain froze for a moment, and then he spoke uncertainly. How much did you say you wanted? Could you please say it again at 0.8x speed? I said I wanted money for 250 tickets. After GUCI finished retelling, he felt that he had gone too far and said, I'll refund more and make up less. If it doesn't work, I won't go. Okay? Of course. Chi Rui kept smiling, we will deposit 20,000 yuan into your account later. You don't need to withdraw the rest. Let your friends write a 100-word review after watching the movie. Just consider it as cooperating with my work. Is that okay with you? Sure. GUCI hung up the phone, not thinking that the other party would transfer money at all. But unexpectedly, the other party seemed to be prepared. The next moment, he received a text message saying that 20,000 yuan had been deposited into his account. He was stunned for a moment, then stood up and looked at Zhao Cheng and Wei Zhiheng in the dormitory, with a proud face. Are there any good sons who want to watch Suspicion for free? Next week's new movie. Wei Zhiheng, who kept up with current affairs, had already heard about the new movie. But I want to invite Suman to watch it with me next week. I can invite her too, but the places are limited and we won't have it again if we miss this opportunity. GUCI said. Zhao Cheng came over and asked with a smile, why did you suddenly want to treat us to a movie? Tell me, how many seats are available? GUCI thought for a moment and said, we need to save a place for Li Feng. There are 4 of us in the dormitory, including Miss Su and Xie Huaning. The rest will make up 244. Chapter 19, Watch a Movie Together. Zhao Cheng and Wei Zhiheng looked at each other, then touched GUCI's forehead. Are you confused because of hunger? Zhao Cheng looked at GUCI with a frown. Wei Zhiheng also looked unconvinced. More than 200 people, are you watching a movie or holding a big meeting? GUCI took out his cell phone and showed them the text message of 20,000 yuan that had just been deposited into his account. His eyes were clear. She said on the phone that I could bring as many people as I wanted to see it, and they just had to write a review of more than 100 words after watching it. I casually said 250 yuan, and the money was deposited when I hung up the phone. Wei Zhiheng and Zhao Cheng were completely stunned. How could such a thing as something as heaven falling happen to you? Zhao Cheng almost broke his voice. Wei Zhiheng thought about it and found it a little strange. Free tickets are rare now. This is the first time I've heard of so many free tickets at once. Which cinema is so generous? GUCI thought about what the customer service said. It's a cinema I haven't heard of. It seems to be called Mingyu Cinema. Hearing this, Wei Zhiheng was stunned. Mingyu Cinema, I remember that it's a private cinema, right? It's usually used for the premiere of movies owned by the parent company, and is used to invite producers and some internal employees. How come they offer free tickets there? Is the person in charge drunk? Whose company? Zhao Cheng asked curiously. I'm a little unsure about this, but aren't there only a few giants in the film and television industry now? I guess it won't happen. Wei Zhiheng didn't bother to think about it. Who cares? Whether we can watch it or not, we've got the money anyway, so we won't lose anything. If we really can't watch it after we go, we can just go to the restaurant. 244 people, right? I'll call for people right away. Let's call those we are familiar with from other departments, and also call a few junior schoolmates, so that everyone can benefit from it. Zhao Cheng suggested. Wei Zhiheng agreed with his expression. If we heard that there were schoolgirls here, the place with more than 200 people would be full in a matter of minutes. Leave a few more places. GUCI said, sending a message on his phone, let's set it for next Wednesday. I'll ask if there are any teachers who are free and can go together. You are very thoughtful. I will go and ask too. At this time, in the study room of Dongcheng Community, Shi Qing was wearing a long cotton home suit, sitting in front of the computer, working and signing contracts one after another, while looking up at Chi Rui who was standing in the study. The first floor hall has 60 rows and 40 columns, with seats for 240 people. You're telling me that's not enough? It's really not enough, Chairman. Things have changed, and you may have to give up some of the hall on the second floor. Chi Rui lowered his head guiltily. Shi Qing frowned. I asked you to give 2 movie tickets to GUCI and that little girl. You are top assistant, so such a simple thing shouldn't be a problem. It's like this, Chairman. I called your nephew and told him everything I should have said like a scam boss. He didn't believe me, so I said I could get a discount. He then said he wanted 250 tickets. If not, he wouldn't go. But since it was a task you gave me, I agreed. Seeing Shi Qing frowning, Qi Rui said quickly, "Don't be angry, there are only 6 more people who can't sit down, you can let those 6 people go to the second floor." Shi Qing took a deep breath, closed the contract in front of him, and pinched his brows. "You should know my schedule. Next Wednesday is the premiere of Doubt. I plan to use the theater on the second floor to entertain director Zhang and his team." Qi Rui immediately came up with a solution. "I'm sorry, Chairman. I'm going to ask someone to add a bench in the lobby on the first floor. The 6 of them should be able to make do with it." Shi Qing was silent for a moment, and seemed to have made a decision. "If I'm not mistaken, the kid should have invited all his classmates. Let's not make do with them. Let the extra people go to the second floor and sit in the front row so they don't disturb me and Director Zhang and the others when we're talking. It's really rare for you to give me face." Qi Rui smiled and adjusted his glasses. After all, Mingyu Cinema is Shi Qing's private place to watch movies alone, except for inviting directors and production crews to watch movies during the premiere. Shi Qing usually doesn't like noise or being disturbed when watching movies, so this is a first. "That's right." Shi Qing leaned back in his chair, stroking his chin, as if thinking of something. "Since you lied to him that you can watch movies here, why not just transfer a few staff members from other cinemas?" "Wow, you have to use all the tricks to coax a child." "Okay, Chairman, I'll arrange it today." Qi Rui was about to leave when Shi Qing called him back. "They watch a movie, they have to eat something, right?" Shi Qing said. Qi Rui immediately understood what Shi Qing meant, made an okay gesture helplessly and went out. Unexpectedly, the chairman of a film and television company actually performed in his own private cinema. Wednesday. On the day Xie Huaning received the message from GUCI only said briefly, "I'll treat you to a movie next Wednesday," but it still made her very happy, so much so that she prepared wholeheartedly until today, because to her, such words sounded like an invitation for a date during the ambiguous period. As soon as I walked out of the dormitory building, I saw a familiar figure at the door. GUCI was slumped on a bench with his hands in his coat pockets, looking up at the sky, chewing gum in his mouth, and I don't know what he was thinking about. The person she liked was waiting at the door. Xie Huaning wanted to tease GUCI, so she quietly walked behind GUCI, covered GUCI's eyes, and deliberately remained silent. She thought GUCI would ask who it was, but GUCI said nothing and just quietly let Xie Huaning cover her eyes. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading. Why don't you guess who I am? Xie Huaning once again felt that GUCI was a little too straightforward. Then don't use jasmine-scented hand cream next time. I'll know it's you as soon as I smell it. GUCI said. Xie Huaning blushed, there are so many jasmine-scented hand creams. The one you usually use has a bit of a fruity scent, obviously. It's cold now, and your skin is prone to dryness. Do you want me to apply some on you as well? Xie Huaning asked tentatively in a low voice. No, I've applied it, but it's tasteless. GUCI refused directly and walked towards the school gate without noticing Xie Huaning, who had already taken out the hand cream. Xie Huaning sighed and followed. Soon, the two of them drove to Mingyu Cinema. There's actually a movie studio here. Xie Huaning looked around, and at this moment, she noticed a person standing in the reception room not far away, and he looked familiar. GUCI. Why are you here just now? Wei Zhihan walked towards the two of them, accompanied by Zhao Cheng, Li Feng, and Su Man. Why didn't you go in and take a look? GUCI asked. The staff here said the first floor is full, so we have to go to the second floor. All right. GUCI was walking in front and didn't notice that Xie Huaning's smiling face seemed to be covered with a layer of gloom. GUCI, do you really not know whose territory this is? Behind him, Su Man patted GUCI's shoulder gently. GUCI shook his head, isn't this a movie studio? Wei Zhiheng then leaned close to GUCI's ear and whispered, this is the private cinema of the chairman of Shisha Films. GUCI's steps were stunned. He just walked to the door of the theater on the second floor and met the eyes of Shi Qing, who was sitting in the back row. Chapter 20. Can you drive? But he saw that there were a few serious-looking people beside Shi Qing. There was a small glass table in front of the sofa with a few glasses of wine on it. He sat quietly in the front row without looking back. Except for Xie Huaning, the other 4 people were very considerate and arranged for Guci and Xie Huaning to sit very close to each other. However, Xie Huaning still did not look happy. Before the movie started, Xie Huaning finally couldn't help but speak. "You said you invited me to watch a movie, but you actually invited many classmates. Am I just one of them?" As soon as she said this, Xie Huaning regretted it. What was the point of asking this? Didn't it just show that she was jealous and petty? What would Guci think of her? Guci looked at Xie Huaning and was silent for a moment. He said, "Actually, there is also a teacher." Xie Huaning felt aggrieved and sat there in silence for a while. She had no appetite for the sumptuous desserts, drinks, and popcorn on the table. Not long after the movie started, she finally couldn't bear it anymore and stood up. "I suddenly remembered that I have something else tonight, so I may not be able to stay here to finish the movie. Sorry. I'll leave first." Almost like running away, even though Xie Huaning knew that she had done nothing wrong, she just looked forward to this time alone in the cinema for 3 days. She just knew the original story of the movie in advance so that she could talk more with Guci. She just matched countless pieces of clothes. It still failed to melt the ice in Guci's heart. "Guci, why don't you chase him out and see what happens?" Wei Zhihen couldn't bear to watch it anymore. Guci shook his head and ate the snacks in front of him. She said she had something to do. Wei Zhihen was so shocked that he was speechless. He finally understood why girls felt helpless towards straight guys. Shi Qing, who was sitting in the back row, saw Xie Huaning running away and felt a little strange as to why she left after just a few moments of watching. "Mr. Shi, are these the audience you invited to comment?" the man next to him asked, raising a glass of wine to Shi Qing. Shi Qing picked up his wine glass and clinked it with his own. Taking advantage of the dimness of the theater, he pretended to take a sip and said, "Yes, I will ask them to write down their most honest evaluations and impressions. This is absolutely necessary for the long-term development of the situation." After this film, does director Shi have any new plans? I heard that director Shi is going abroad to discuss cooperation and prepare new projects. Has it been confirmed? Shi Qing smiled, neither confirming nor denying, maybe. Plans can never keep up with changes. The filming of Suspicion exceeded my expectations. I had a great time working with director Zhang. I hope to work with director Zhang again in the future. That's great. It's our honor to be able to cooperate with the times. After the movie ended, perhaps because everyone had drunk a lot, they left without watching the ending Easter egg. Shi Qing also stood up to see director Zhang and others off. Guci walked out of the cinema with Wei Zhihen and others only after watching the Easter eggs. It was getting late, so they hurriedly said goodbye to the alumni and teachers in the hall on the first floor. Seeing Shi Qing busy sending the director off, Suman didn't say anything and asked Guci and the others, "How are you leaving? Do you want to take my car?" "Yes." Wei Zhihen was the first to step forward. Immediately, Zhao Cheng and Li Feng also got on the car. "Hey, Guci, you don't need it." Wei Zhihen looked at Shi Qing, who was not far away, and gave Guci a thumbs up. "It has to be you, you are awesome." Then Guci, "Just follow your aunt obediently. We'll leave first, Tilda." Suman's driver drove away. In fact, Suman's sports car could just accommodate 4 people. If there was one more person, it might be a bit crowded. Guci looked at Shi Qing, who was not far away, and walked towards him after seeing director Zhang and others off. But he didn't plan to let Shi Qing take him there, because he never liked to trouble others. "Aunt, I want to go back too." Guci waved obediently and took out his phone to hail a taxi, etc. Shi Qing suddenly called him. "Can you drive?" she asked. Even though the wine only touched his lips and didn't go into his mouth at all, Shi Qing's cheeks were still slightly pink, as if he had applied too much blush without knowing it. Guci nodded. "I got my driver's license the year before last. My assistant drove the partner away. I feel dizzy and can't drive." Shi Qing said this, shaking the Ferrari keys. "You want me to drive you?" Guci asked. "Is there anyone else here?" Shi Qing looked at the silent surroundings and shrugged helplessly. The private cinema was already remote. After everyone had left, only Guci and Shi Qing were left. Without the hustle and bustle of traffic, it was like being alone in a room. "How about you call a designated driver?" Guci suggested. You called me aunt, but you didn't help me with such a small matter. Shi Qing sighed and sat on the side of the road, muttering, I still have to wait for the driver here. It's not that I don't want to take you there, but I haven't driven a car since I passed my driving test, let alone a sports car. It would be very dangerous. Guci explained. There's an empty path behind the cinema. After Shi Qing finished speaking, he pushed Guci to the driver's seat and said, I'll teach you, just drive with confidence. Okay, I'll go back after I take you there. Guci had no choice but to agree and fastened his seat belt. Shi Qing, who was in the passenger seat, pressed the steering wheel twice, turned the paddle on the side, turned on the normal mode, and then turned on the navigation. He said, That's it, let's go. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading. Guci stepped on the accelerator and the car started slowly, smoothly and quietly, with almost no bumps. How do you feel? Shi Qing glanced at Guci. Very stable. When you graduate, I'll give you one as a graduation present. You can choose the style yourself. I don't want it. Guci refused without hesitation and without any hesitation. Why, you don't like it? My parents said they can't accept your gift. Guci remembered the teachings of his family. His parents said that Shi Qing was very wealthy and might give him expensive gifts, but he should not accept them. Shi Qing sighed and said depressedly, Brother and sister-in-law are really annoying. Why are they teaching you like a child not to accept things from strangers? You are an adult after all. You don't need to be so obedient. Guci was silent and drove quietly. Shi Qing looked at Guci and had no idea who Guci inherited this from. He looked young and handsome, but the temperament he exuded was as boring as that of an older person. By the way, how did you make that little girl angry and run away today? Shi Qing asked. Huh. Guci was puzzled. I wasn't mad at her. She said she had something to do and that's why she left first. Shi Qing thought of Xie Huaning's expression when she left. It didn't look like she left because of something, and such words sounded too much like a lie. Besides your previous girlfriend, didn't you have any girl you liked in college? No. I feel that dating is boring. Guci said the truth. It may also be because he really didn't have a favorite girl, and he never had much imagination about the so-called sweet love. Aren't you afraid that your parents will urge you in a few years? Hearing this, Guci was silent for a moment. Then I'll go on a blind date. Blind date? Shi Qing was a little surprised. You are so picky. It would be better to choose someone of the opposite sex you are familiar with than to go on a blind date. No, I'm not picky. If my parents really push me. Guci's face was serious and earnest. As long as the blind date has good morals and is willing to get married, I can help them have a daughter-in-law as quickly as possible, and even let them have children. Chapter 21 I have a child. Instantly, Shi Qing looked at Guci with a look of disbelief on his face, and asked, You mean, as long as the blind date likes you, no matter who it is, you are willing to get married quickly and even have children? Guci nodded. I think it is a sacred thing for two people to form a family and give birth to a new life. If a girl has my child, I will definitely devote my whole life to her. Like children. As the moonlight grew brighter, Shi Qing's smile took on a hint of charm. I have one. It's not yours, but you can check it out often. I will. After all, she is my sister. But it seems too early to talk about this now. He changed the subject. Aunt, the destination is ahead. Do you want to sleep here tonight? Looking at the magnificent building in front of him, Guci was a little confused. Because this was not Shi Qing's company, nor was it a place to live, he looked up and saw only 4 words, Junxin Group. Do I look like a woman who can sleep anywhere and never know where to go home? Shi Qing rolled his eyes at Guci, then took a gift box from the back seat, opened the door and got out of the car. I need to meet someone and will be out soon, wait for me here. Before leaving, Shi Qing walked slowly to the driver's seat, took out a few candies and put them in Guci's hand, then walked into the building. Guci looked at Shi Qing's back, then looked at the candy in his hand, and frowned. What? Sending the kids away. He really hated the way Shi Qing always treated him like a child. He complained and peeled a candy and put it in his mouth. It's quite delicious. At this time, in the chairman's office on the top floor of Junxin Group. The old woman sat on a leather seat, wearing thin framed glasses, flipping through a folder in her hand. Even though she was well maintained, she couldn't hide the sharpness and shrewdness between her eyebrows. She glanced at Shi Qing, who came in, and snorted unhappily, "You came really early. If you want to eat cold dishes, just tell me earlier so that I don't have to heat them up for you." Shi Qing put the things she brought on the coffee table. Seeing the lunchbox next to it, she opened it and took a look. Then she said calmly, "Sorry, I happened to meet the director tonight, so I was delayed for a while." Then he picked up the lunchbox and said, "It's late. I'll take the food back and eat it. I'll see you next time. I think you didn't want to talk to me, so you arranged other things today." Song Junyao stopped the work in his hands, stood up, sat on the sofa, picked up the gift box brought by Shi Qing, and took out the things inside. "No, I'm really busy today," Shi Qing said, looking at Song Junyao opening the bird's nest she bought. "You should know that I've been having a fever at work lately and can't eat things like bird's nest. And what you bought isn't the kind I usually eat." Song Junyao put the bird's nest back, crossed his arms, and said in a teaching manner, "You've been in the business world for more than a decade, how come you can't even give a good gift?" Shi Qing was silent for a moment, then just sighed, "I'll buy you something else next time." She walked over to take the bird's nest away, but was stopped by Song Junyao. "It's already been given to me, so there's no point in taking it back," Song Junyao said as he put the bird's nest away. "When you were abroad, I sent people to invite you many times, but you always said next time, next time. But this time, you came at the right time, and I just happened to have something to ask you." Hearing this, Shi Qing had no choice but to sit opposite the sofa. "Ask. Those rumors about you, whether true or false, I won't believe any of them unless you admit it yourself, including the rumor that you have a child." Song Junyao also sat back on the sofa and looked at Shi Qing with sharp eyes. "Today, I will only ask you about your child. Is it true or not? Tell me yourself. Since you chose to ask this question, you must have read those well-informed news on the internet." Shi Qing lowered his eyes and said calmly, "Yes, I do have a child." "What?" Song Junya's face changed slightly, and her tone was a little agitated, but she still tried her best to control her emotions and asked calmly, "When did it happen? You got married?" "No. I sent someone to check, and you are not married at all." "Yeah, not married, just had a child." Seeing Shi Qing admit it calmly, Song Junyao could no longer control his emotions. Bang! She slapped the coffee table with her palm. The sound broke the tranquility of the night outside the window and completely shattered the atmosphere of the conversation between the two. "What did Shi Wei Chen teach you all these years? You even learned how to get pregnant before marriage? You are really embarrassing me." Song Junyao stood up, paced around the office, pointed at Shi Qing, and asked, "Tell me, whose child is this?" "I don't know. But my father taught me very well. If he were here, he would definitely understand everything I did and why." Shi Qing's face remained calm. He didn't even look at Shu Junyao. He got up with his things and walked towards the door. "He understands you. Does he understand that you don't cherish the fact that you fooled around with other men and had a child? How could I, Song Junyao, give birth to a daughter like you?" Song Junyao was angry and hysterical, and the hurtful words had already been said and could not be taken back. With a bang, Shi Qing dropped the lunchbox on the ground. "At least he knows I'm allergic to tomatoes." Shi Qing's voice trembled, and he asked with red eyes, "What qualifications do you have to educate me? You gave birth to me but didn't raise me. When our family was in the most difficult time, you decisively abandoned me and my dad. You would rather be a stepmother than marry a rich man. My dad raised me all by himself. He did everything for me, from washing dishes and cleaning, to working on construction sites, assembly lines, express delivery, maintenance, taxi drivers. He paid off all the family debts and paid for my tuition penny by penny since I was a child. And you?" Shi Qing laughed, feeling extremely ridiculous, but his eyes had already turned red. "When you abandoned me and my father for your ideal life of wealth and luxury, I was also wondering why I had a mother like you." Bang! A crisp sound rang out in the office, bringing the conversation to an abrupt halt. At this moment, Guci, who was looking for Shi Qing at the door, happened to see this scene. Shi Qing was slapped hard in the face, and the tears that had been suppressed for a long time finally flowed down his cheeks. Chapter 22, First Experience with a Baby. Guci stood there in a daze, completely unaware of what was happening. "Aunt, you." Bang! Before Guci could finish his words, he saw Shi Qing raise his hand and return the slap. His shock level was doubled. After all, he thought that the people in front of Shi Qing were all elders, and he never thought that Shi Qing would fight back. You. Song Junyao also looked at Shi Qing in disbelief. "Well, you dare to hit your mother now? Is this what your Wei Chen taught you? I only know that my father told me before he died that after he left, I would live alone and I would fight back no matter who bullied me. He didn't want me to be wronged. If he saw that I had my own children and a new home, he would only be happy for me." Shi Qing looked at Song Junyao without any fear, and said sternly, "Except for giving birth to me, you have never participated in my life again. You have no right to hit me." Song Junyao pointed at Shi Qing, almost suffocating with anger, and angrily said, "What kind of home is this? Do you really think that having a child means you have a home? You will not be happy if you continue to be alone. Sooner or later, you will beg me to take you in. Wasn't our family of 3 still unhappy?" Shi Qing smiled self-deprecatingly, took out sunglasses and a mask from his bag and put them on, then opened the door and took Guci's hand. "I shouldn't have come here today. I won't come again. Just wait and see. I will get married and give my children a truly happy home." After saying that, she took Guci's hand and left the office, walking through the busy crowd in the group and leaving the company under the sight of countless people. Only after getting in the car did Shi Qing take off his sunglasses and mask. His eyes were red and the tear marks on his face were not yet dry. "Why did you go up there again?" she asked. "I went up because you didn't come down for so long. And I took your car keys and said I was your driver." As Guci was speaking, he saw Shi Qing's profile reflected on the passenger window as he looked out at the neon lights. His eyes seemed to contain years of pent-up melancholy that was now released into the night sky. "Shall I take you home now?" he asked in a low voice. Shi Qing leaned his head against the car window. He cried many times along the way. Even though he tried his best to suppress his tears, it was of no avail. After an unknown amount of time, the car arrived at the Dongcheng residential area. Guci parked the car in the underground garage. Just as he was about to speak, he turned around and saw Shi Qing sleeping soundly. He unbuckled his seat belt and got out of the car, walked to the passenger seat, carefully opened the door, and held Shi Qing's face with his hand. Shi Qing was sleeping very soundly, and even though his face was supported by Guci's hand, he did not wake up at all. Looking at Shi Qing's sleeping face, for some reason, Guci couldn't help but stop and take a few more glances. When Shi Qing fell asleep, it was as if she had shed the outer coat of a strong woman, revealing a soft, warm heart that just exuded the right amount of maternal radiance. The curled-up posture that depended on the warmth of Guci's palm actually aroused a strong desire to protect her. "Have you been alone for a long time?" Guci murmured. He thought about the conversation he had overheard outside the office. Could it be that Shi Qing only has a child but no husband? Is she divorced or? Realizing that he was thinking too much, Guci quickly dispelled the messy speculations in his mind. No matter what happened to Shi Qing or what his past was like, even if he was curious, he would not ask. Because in his eyes, Shi Qing was the benefactor who had helped his parents, his nominal aunt, and someone he should respect and honor. Thinking of this, he took Shi Qing's handbag, then picked up Shi Qing, kicked the car door shut, and went upstairs. When he reached the door, he knocked gently. Soon, the confinement nanny opened the door holding the baby. "Why is it so late?" Seeing the sleeping Shi Qing being held by Guci, the nanny quickly lowered her voice and signaled Guci to take Shi Qing to the bedroom. Guci covered Shi Qing with a blanket and closed the door quietly. "Is the boss asleep?" The nanny was a little surprised. "Yeah, I fell asleep on the way back." Guci was about to walk out when he was stopped by the confinement nanny. "Your aunt doesn't like outsiders staying at her place. She usually takes care of the child herself. I have to leave when she gets home from get off work, but there's no one to take care of the child. You are one of her family members, so you can stay here." The confinement nanny looked towards Shi Qing's room and sighed. Since the birth of the child, she not only didn't take good care of herself during the confinement period, but also didn't sleep well at night. She had to go to the company early in the day, so her nutrition was not enough, and her health was also much worse. After a long time, she began to suffer from insomnia at night, and her work and rest schedule was messed up. Sometimes she looked listless at home during the day. She takes care of the child alone at night. GUCI was a little surprised. Yes, I wanted to stay here several times, but the boss wouldn't let me. He said I had to take care of the child myself. Just think about it, the child is still young, and she has to get up many times in the middle of the night. She has to get up on time to look after the child, waking up and falling asleep. It would be better if there was a man to help. What do you think? The nanny was talking when she suddenly stopped and said hurriedly, "Quick, come into the room." She set an alarm on her phone and I just remembered. Turn it off quickly. She finally fell asleep and she won't wake up again. GUCI had no choice but to go back to the bedroom, only to find that Shi Qing had kicked off the quilt at some point. He was afraid that Shi Qing would catch a cold, so he covered her with the quilt again and then quickly came out with Shi Qing's bag. He opened Shi Qing's cell phone and found that it had a digital password, which he couldn't open. My dear, there is more to this chapter. Please click on the next page to continue reading. It's even more exciting later. I have to go. I'll come early tomorrow to take your place. You stay here and look after the child tonight. The nanny added GUCI's WeChat before leaving, and on their way she sent GUCI some things that needed attention. Looking at the series of precautions and the warm and soft baby in his arms, GUCI stood there in a daze, but finally accepted the reality. He put the baby in the crib and sat beside him, reading the precautions and methods for dealing with emergencies sent by the confinement nanny one by one, as seriously as he would the college entrance examination. That night, Shi Qing's alarm clock rang every 1 hour and 40 minutes. As soon as the alarm rang, he immediately turned off the alarm to avoid waking Shi Qing up, and then went to check on the baby. When the baby cried, he would either change his diaper or feed him. He followed the nanny's instructions and mixed the milk powder strictly according to the proportions, just like doing a chemistry experiment. He tested the temperature on the back of his hand, then picked up the child, adjusted the angle to the right, and fed him awkwardly. Seeing the child drinking milk with his eyes open like little grapes, GUCI knew for the first time what it meant to exert great strength to feed. Because when Wan was drinking milk, she clenched her two chubby little pink fists tightly, and the flesh on both sides of her cheeks also followed suit. Wan already had a milky fragrance, and now when she was drinking milk, it smelled even better, like a piece of soft strawberry-flavored cheese. GUCI suddenly realized that the ugly, wrinkled meatball he had seen in the ward before had gradually become round and cute. His soft and cute appearance made him feel fond of him. While burping the baby, he chatted with Wan for a while. But soon, GUCI stopped smiling, because he was about to change Wan's diaper. His face became serious and he put on a mask of pain in advance. Fortunately, even though he was prepared for it, it wasn't as smelly as he had imagined. Even a little enjoyment. Of course, it's time to wipe Wan's butt. Because Wan kept smiling at him and dancing. You almost kicked me, little Shiruanruan. GUCI muttered to himself as he changed Wan's diaper. She responded to GUCI's voice with soft babbling sounds. What should I do? I don't understand. Let's talk again when you grow up. GUCI said. Ron, Bo. GUCI looked at Wan and said, do you want to be a child prodigy? You are so young and you are so eager to speak. Bo. You're not going to call me daddy, are you? I'm your brother. Chapter 23. The innocent child seems unexpectedly brave. GUCI and Wan chatted back and forth until Wan fell asleep again, and then GUCI took a nap on the sofa next to the crib. However, the alarm clock rang again and again. He not only had to check on Wan, but also had to take a look at Shi Qing in the bedroom. As long as he saw Shi Qing kicking the quilt, he would go in and cover Shi Qing. After all, it was autumn now. Although the temperature in this room was moderate, there was still a temperature difference between the quilt and the outside. The confinement nanny said that Shi Qing's health had deteriorated and he must not catch a cold or get sick. The whole night, GUCI was just waking up and falling asleep. Every time, he had to wake up to feed the baby before he could fall into deep sleep. He couldn't help but sigh at the hard work of taking care of a child, and was also surprised that Shi Qing had worked so hard alone for so long. Until dawn, almost 6 in the morning, GUCI woke up for the 8th time. After turning off the alarm clock, seeing that Wan was still not awake, Guci walked to the kitchen quietly. He skillfully cooked a pot of nutritious medicinal porridge using the existing ingredients and Chinese medicinal materials, and then fed Wan again. Fortunately, the confinement nanny arrived not long after. The porridge is in the pot. After saying this, Guci left in a hurry. When they arrived at the school, the class had already started. Guci walked in from the back door with the bread he bought on the way. When the teacher saw that it was Guci, he pushed his glasses and pretended not to see him. Wei Zhiheng in the back row whistled and called out to Guci like a monkey. Guci sat over, took out some bread and water and ate. After he made breakfast for Shi Qing, he was hungry too, but he still came to school first. You sent a message in the group last night saying you would be back late. Why did you come back this morning? Where were you? Wei Zhiheng approached Guci like a dog, sniffing the scent on Guci's body. What kind of milk is so fragrant? Don't bring me a box. It was too late yesterday, so I went home to rest. Guci smiled helplessly. Was he going to say that he smelled the baby because he had been holding the baby all night? Noon, Dongcheng Community. Shi Qing opened his eyes groggily. The dark curtains made it almost impossible to detect the time from the light outside, and there was no clock in the bedroom. Suddenly, she panicked and ran out without even wearing shoes. She could feel her originally heavy head become much lighter. She must have slept longer than usual. The confinement nanny, who was holding her child in the sun, turned around when she heard the sound of Tenteng's feet hitting the floor. You're awake. What time is it? When Shi Qing saw the soft baby in the nanny's arms, blinking her big eyes, he felt relieved. It's past 10 o'clock. I was hoping you could get some more sleep, but why did you suddenly? The nanny then noticed that Shi Qing was not wearing shoes. She quickly put Wan in the crib, then brought slippers to Shi Qing and sighed, you have to wear shoes. It's not good to let the cold air enter your body. As she spoke, she handed the furry confinement socks to Shi Qing. Shi Qing took a deep breath to calm her nervous mood, walked to the sofa to put on her socks, and when she saw Wan, she seemed to come alive in an instant. Until this moment, when she felt her heart still beating violently and panically, she realized that even though she always said that it was okay to be alone and felt that she could take good care of Wan as long as she put her heart into it, she was still afraid of the unexpected and afraid of making mistakes. She was too afraid that she would not fulfill her duties as a mother for the first time. She was too afraid that she would not be able to take good care of this hard-earned baby. If that happened, she would probably never be able to forgive herself for the rest of her life. Her everything, their home and bright future she had always hoped for, was nothing more than this babbling baby in front of her. Did you stay here last night? Why didn't you call me? Shi Qing put on his socks, covered her with the blanket on the sofa, and then held her in his arms. Didn't I tell you that I would take care of her myself at night? You? Look at your memory. Have you forgotten? Who was the one who was carried back by your nephew while he was asleep last night? The confinement nanny reminded. It seems, it's me. Shi Qing then recalled that she had fallen asleep in the car and couldn't help but slap her forehead. She really was going to be stupid for 3 years because of pregnancy. But she didn't expect that her innocent nephew would actually bring her back. He could have just woken her up. Eat something first. You must be hungry after sleeping for so long. You will know after you finish eating by checking the surveillance camera at home. The nanny brought out the medicinal food pot from the kitchen and filled a bowl for Shi Qing. I just heated it up for you. Eat it while it's hot. Shi Qing probably guessed that the confinement nanny might have spent the night on the sofa. She put Wan down, picked up her phone and sat down at the dining table, expecting there would be a series of messages and missed calls waiting for her to deal with, but surprisingly, there was not a single one. She even thought that the network was not connected, but the signal was full and everything was normal. It's so weird. It's like the company went bankrupt. She didn't even look at the porridge in front of her and immediately called Chi Rui. The call was connected quickly. Shi Qing frowned slightly, his face serious. What's wrong with you? You didn't report your schedule to me all morning. Where is the data sheet for the first day of the premiere of Suspicion? Has the previous plan of the planning team been finalized? And the cooperation that BD is discussing? Wait. Chi Rui was confused and asked doubtfully, Chairman, aren't you on vacation this morning? Who told you I was going to take a vacation? When did I ever take a vacation? But your nephew came to the company early this morning to stop me and said that you were taking a break in the morning, so he asked me to modify my morning schedule and postpone all arrangements and meetings until you call me. Hearing this, Shi Qing was stunned for a moment. She didn't expect that Guci ran from school to the company to block Chi Rui early in the morning just to tell Chi Rui that she was resting. Could it be that he was afraid that she would be disturbed when she was sleeping? But he went to the company earlier than Chi Rui. This kind of thing really seems like something that kid could do. Even if he is my nephew, would you believe him when he told you about such a big thing as taking a vacation? Shi Qing's tone softened, but he was still serious. I didn't believe you at the time, but your nephew brought me a picture of you sleeping, and that's when I believed you. I was thinking that you've been busy since you came from abroad, and that it's even harder to give birth to a child after you came back. It's okay to take a half-day break. Don't worry, everything is fine and in order at the company. Photo. Shi Qing held her forehead with her hand. The child actually took a secret photo of her while she was sleeping. Okay, I get it. It's almost lunchtime. I'll go to the company in the afternoon. After hanging up the phone and putting it down, Shi Qing felt more relaxed than ever before. Although a certain child had taken it upon himself to let her take a vacation, she felt extremely at ease the way she felt after having a comfortable sleep and waking up without having to think about anything and enjoying the present moment. Although she fell asleep with tears in her eyes last night, after waking up peacefully and feeling the sunshine at noon, she felt that all the negative emotions had evaporated and her body and mind were refreshed. Or maybe, what she longed for was the long-lost feeling of being cared for. Chapter 20 For this kid is really filial. Shi Qing's thoughts were quickly brought back by the smell of the porridge in the bowl. She turned the porridge over and found that there were many medicinal ingredients, with a balanced combination and rich nutrition. Every spoonful was full, as if a whole pot of medicinal food was added with white rice, sorghum, various beans, red dates, wolfberries, etc. She could hardly count how many kinds of ingredients there were, and the taste was better than anything she had eaten before. Your cooking skills have improved. Shi Qing thought that it was the porridge cooked by the confinement nanny. The nanny smiled and said, "Don't flatter me. I don't know how to make medicinal food. Your nephew prepared this for you this morning and put it there." The spoon in Shi Qing's hand stopped in mid-air, and he said in disbelief, That kid? Did he make this pot of medicinal porridge?" She knew that Guci might have learned a lot from his elder brother and sister-in-law, but she didn't expect that the child would specially make porridge for her. Yes. He is a very good cook. The nanny praised it again and again. This pot of medicinal porridge smelled so good that if the kitchen door hadn't been closed, the whole living room would have been filled with the fragrance. But even so, she still smelled the fragrance when she came in the morning. It can be said that it was made quickly and well, and was extremely skilled. When did he come? Did he come here specially to make porridge for her? Shi Qing was a little confused. Although this place was not far from Liaoning University, during the morning rush hour, Guci skipped classes to make porridge for her. The nanny immediately answered her doubts. "He came back with you last night, and you were sleeping soundly. I thought you didn't want me to stay here at night, and there was no one to look after the child, so I let him stay here. I came a little early in the morning, and he waited until I came before leaving." What? Suddenly, Shi Qing put down the spoon and asked anxiously, "You didn't stay here last night, but he did. He took care of Wan all night. Why didn't you say so earlier?" It's not that she didn't trust Guci, but in her eyes, Guci was just a childish kid who could barely take care of himself. After all, Guci's clothes were always dirty. He bought the biggest bucket of soda on the street and drank it with his arms around his chest. He crossed the road slowly without looking at the lights, and occasionally he would stare into space and think, and he couldn't even understand the tuft of hair on his head. It was really hard for her to imagine how an inexperienced college student like Guci could take care of a baby on his own for an entire night. "Don't worry, I told your nephew in advance how to take care of the child, and I told him that he could call me if he encountered any problems." The confinement nanny has become accustomed to countless new mothers getting nervous about even the smallest things regarding their children. Your nephew seems to be a quick learner. He took very good care of the child, feeding him the right amount of milk. The child never spit up milk, and he changed diapers regularly. Not only that, when he left, he also picked up the child's changed diapers, the garbage in the house, and the garbage in the kitchen. When I came in the morning, the kitchen and the living room were very tidy. The nanny said, your nephew is really rare. This is the first time I have seen such a calm young man. Hearing this, Shi Qing was silent and turned on the surveillance video of last night. He saw that Guci in the surveillance video was doing his job conscientiously from 11 p.m. to 6 p.m. Even when he was extremely sleepy, he would just prop up his head on the sofa and take a nap. Only occasionally, when he chatted enthusiastically with Wan, could he see some immature behavior. She looked at every place in the living room where Guci had walked, glanced at Wan, then lowered her head to look at the medicinal food in the bowl. In a daze, she wondered if it was the few mouthfuls of porridge she had just drunk that made her heart warm. Even though she sped up the process, she still saw and remembered the more than 8 hours of work. This kid. Her previous thoughts were indeed too one-sided. Today, she was lucky enough to see another side of Guci. Only. In addition to looking after the children, Guci actually went into her bedroom again and again. Shi Qing curiously checked the bedroom surveillance and discovered that Guci would always look at her at the door, and when he saw her kicking off the quilt, he would carefully cover her up. For some reason, an ambiguous smile appeared on Shi Qing's face, but when she realized that she was laughing foolishly, she quickly stopped smiling. She was just relieved and felt that Guci was sensible and filial. Yes, that's it. Well, as an elder, it shouldn't be wrong for her to give the child some symbolic praise, right? Thinking this, she sent a WeChat message to Guci. Qing, thank you for your hard work last night. Thumbs up. JPG. At this time, Guci was drinking coffee in the leisure area of the school. Wei Zhiheng next to him was watching Guci playing Draw and Guess on his mobile phone with boredom. A WeChat message from Shi Qing popped up above, and they both looked over there at the same time. Wei Zhiheng narrowed his eyes, then looked at Guci with a mysterious smile, and then imitated Guci's tone and said, "Oh, it was too late yesterday, so I went home to rest. Guci didn't expect that his white lie to avoid gossip about Wei Zhiheng would be exposed as soon as it was revealed. The next moment, Wei Zhiheng seemed to be possessed by the actor, with a heartbroken look on his face, grabbing Guci's throat. Guci. My half-brother. If you dare to lie to me today, you will dare to let me down tomorrow. For the sake of our remaining revolutionary friendship." He looked at Guci affectionately and said with a sly smile, "Tell me, how hard was it last night?" "I won't tell you." Guci turned around rebelliously and sent a message to Shi Qing. Wei Zhiheng stood up angrily, stepped on the bench, pointed at Guci and scolded him mercilessly. "Good, Guci. There are 4 of us in our dormitory, and I thought you were the most honest, but I didn't expect you to be the most playful. Suman and I haven't made any progress at all, and you just go straight ahead. Guci directly covered Wei Zhiheng's mouth and interrupted the spell. There were many younger classmates near the leisure area, and he couldn't let Wei Zhiheng open his mouth and talk nonsense. "If you keep talking nonsense, I will tell Miss Su bad things about you," Guci warned. Wei Zhiheng seemed to be strangled, and could only grit his teeth and say, "Despicable." On the other side, Shi Qing in Dongcheng community was looking at a long string of text messages received on his mobile phone. It was sent to her by Guci. It was nothing else but the record of Guci taking care of Wan last night. In total, I wrote several hundred words, including how many milliliters of milk were mixed for Wan during different time periods, how much Wan drank, his sleep patterns, whether he cried or made a fuss, how long he played, and even his poop and babbling sounds were recorded in detail. Shi Qing was stunned. Guci once again did something beyond her expectations. She thought that Guci had taken care of the children perfectly all night, cleaned their house, cooked porridge for her, and asked for leave from the company. She thought that he was considerate enough, but she didn't expect that Guci even recorded everything he did and sent it to her. Chapter 25, Being Praised by My Aunt. But she was a little curious. "Qing, how come you even wrote down the random sounds that Wan made?" "Guci, I just wrote this when I was bored. I guess even if it doesn't make sense, you probably don't want to miss every moment of your child. The rest is just because I'm worried that you might be worried, but I don't think I did anything wrong, and Wan is also very well behaved and didn't make a fuss. Qing, I saw it all on the surveillance camera. Thanks to you, I slept well last night. Guci, did you hear it too?" Guci recalled the stupid things he said to Wan to get rid of his sleepiness. "Qing, you are cuter than I thought. GUCI on the other side of the screen was drinking water strategically. Qing, by the way, you saw me being beaten at Junxing Group last night, don't tell your parents about it, and don't ask them any random questions, or they will beat you. Boxing.jpg. GUCI, I won't tell you. Qing, be good Tilder, I'll take you to see Mr. Chi tomorrow as a thank you for helping to take care of Wan last night. It's normal for you to worry about the child, but if you can try to trust the people close to you, it won't be so hard. After all, your husband is not around. The confinement nanny next to her advised, and then didn't say anything else, and served Shi Qing another bowl of porridge. However, GUCI, who saw the message on the other side of the screen, instantly lost his composure. After excitedly thanking Shi Qing, he began to organize his previous paintings, intending to seize the opportunity to ask Mr. Chi for advice tomorrow. Due to WeChat message. He thought Shi Qing had something to tell him again, but it turned out to be a message from Xie Huaning. Ning, can we meet? After GUCI replied, he waited downstairs in the dormitory building. Soon, Xie Huaning was seen running along with a few cups of coffee. Give. Xie Huaning breathlessly stuffed the coffee in her hand to GUCI. I just drank it. GUCI noticed that the coffee Xie Huaning bought was the one he often drank, from the one near the school. I met Li Feng from your dormitory today who was coming back from sketching. He told me that you were yawning a lot today and looked a bit listless, so I bought this. If you've drunk enough, share it with your roommate. Xie Huaning lowered her head. In fact, she took the initiative to ask after she met Li Feng, and it was only after asking that she found out that GUCI did not return to the dormitory last night. Yesterday. I'm sorry. I left suddenly. You invited me over, but I didn't even finish watching it. Why should I apologize? It's not a big deal. I'll just wait until the software is released. That's right. Xie Huaning wanted to say that she just wanted to watch a movie with GUCI, but she didn't say it out loud. After thinking for a moment, she looked up and asked tentatively, I heard that you didn't go back to the dormitory last night. Were you busy with something? Helping relatives to look after their children. GUCI said. Xie Huaning was slightly stunned. You can also take care of children. I don't know how to do it myself, but I can learn. Although GUCI had a lot of last-minute preparation last night, fortunately everything went smoothly. At this moment, he noticed that Xie Huaning was looking at him infatuatedly. Why are you looking at me like that? He asked. Xie Huaning came back to his senses, as if he was about to smoke with shame, lowered his head and muttered, You should be a competent father in the future. Just now when GUCI said, I can learn, her mind inexplicably imagined the scene of GUCI taking care of the child. Before she knew it, she unconsciously daydreamed and put herself in the scene. You should also be a good mother. GUCI said casually. Xie Huaning's eyes lit up. Huh? Why do you feel that way? There were countless moments like this, where she wondered, although she never had the courage to express her feelings to GUCI, maybe GUCI had the same idea as her. Could it be like this? Because you have always had a good temper since you were a child. GUCI was telling the truth. He and Xie Huaning had been childhood sweethearts for 20 years, and he had never seen Xie Huaning get angry, not even once. Even when Xie Huaning was dissatisfied with something when they were children and should have been angry, Xie Huaning just mooed and cried alone. It seems that in Xie Huaning's world, there is no word for anger, only sadness and grievance. It seems to be true. Xie Huaning also realized her soft character, mustered up the courage to look into GUCI's eyes, and added, Even if I am gentle to everyone, I am different to the people I cherish. GUCI nodded, not seeming to care too much. I've transferred the coffee money to you. I have something else to do, so I'll leave first. GUCI left suddenly and gave the money for the coffee to Xie Huaning, which made Xie Huaning wonder again if she had said something wrong. The conversation is dying again. The next day, morning. GUCI was looking around outside the school. Following the license plate number Shi Qing gave him, he finally found an inconspicuous black business car in the corner. He had the impression that Shi Qing should not have driven this car, so he walked to the back door and leaned out the window to look inside. Just then, Shi Qing in the car glanced to the side and saw GUCI staring at him blankly. She raised her eyebrows slightly, feeling somewhat amused, and rolled down the car window. Caught off guard, their breaths met and their eyes met at close range. Good morning, Aunt. Guci greeted politely. Ahem, get in the car. Shi Qing looked away somewhat unnaturally. Guci got in the car from the other side and sat in the seat next to Shi Qing. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading. The car started and a soft female voice came from the radio inside the car. When was the last time I felt the breeze so warm? It seems like just yesterday, but also like a lifetime ago. It's unusually warm today. Is it because you knew you were going to meet Mr. Qi that you finally decided to wear clean clothes? Shi Qing asked. Guci was wearing a black sweatshirt today, and the boy's fair neck and bone outline were visible at the collar. Was I not dressed cleanly before? Guci asked, a little confused. He really never thought that there was anything dirty about his white shirts and white t-shirts. You don't even wash it after it gets stained with paint. Shi Qing pointed out. You mean paint? Guci suddenly realized and explained, I think paint accidentally splashed on white clothes will make them look better, and each time it is unique. Like tie-dye. Shi Qing recalled the colorful white clothes that Guci had worn before, and he seemed to understand a little bit. Yes. Very special. But I have to meet a respected senior today, so I think I can't be casual. That's why I changed it to black. Guci said seriously. Shi Qing became even more certain that beneath Guci's dull appearance, there was a thoughtful yet somewhat interesting soul. Black. Shi Qing looked at Guci's black clothes with a very calm gaze. Is it not good? Guci was a little worried. He attached great importance to today, but he really had no talent for dressing up, and he didn't have many clothes. As long as he had enough to wear, he would not buy new ones. No, I just feel. Shi Qing moved his gaze to Guci's face, you seem to be even more beautiful. Chapter 26. Is it really too old? Guci was stunned for a moment, then realized that he seemed to be praised. Well, my parents are good at giving birth. He was a little incoherent because Shi Qing's passionate and intellectual gaze made his thoughts confused for a moment. What weird things are you talking about? You're so stupid. Shi Qing laughed out loud, and then half-jokingly said, I also want a special white dress. Can Master Gu help me customize it when he is free? Okay. Guci agreed seriously. Really? You're going to paint in my clothes? Sure. Auntie, give me a white dress when you have time. No problem, Tilda, I'm really looking forward to it. The car drove to a secluded and elegant manor. Ziz, the phone vibrates. This is it. I'm going to answer a call first. It should be about the company. After Shi Qing finished speaking, he took his phone and walked away. Guci got out of the car and walked around. He found an archway on the side. He walked in and heard a child's voice. Following the sound, he looked over and saw through the window a little boy drawing by the window. He curiously moved closer and stood by the window, and saw that the boy was painting a traditional Chinese painting with a familiar brushwork, very similar to what he had seen in Mr. Qi's sketchbook before. The little boy soon discovered him, then opened the window and said, like a little adult, with a serious face, Who are you? Why are you peeking at my painting? Do you understand? Not only can I understand it, I can also draw it, said Guci. TSK, who would believe that? The little boy waved his hands, hurry up and leave. If you disturb me again, I'll ask Grandpa to kick you out. Guci leaned against the window and had no intention of leaving. Lend me a pen and I'll draw for you, he said. The little boy picked up a piece of used paper and a pen that had fallen on the ground. Here, you draw on the back. Guci didn't care at all. Although he liked better drawing tools, he never picked and chose when he didn't have them. He took a pen, dipped it in ink, and then used the window as a drawing board, carefully drawing on the piece of waste paper. After a while, Shi Qing came in after finishing his phone call outside. Guci. Shi Qing shouted at the door. Guci returned the paper and pen to the little boy, then walked towards Shi Qing. Why don't you wait for me obediently? You have to come with me to see Mr. Qi first. Shi Qing said. Guci's eyes were clear, and he said innocently, You didn't tell me to wait for you. Shi Qing sighed, then earnestly instructed, You have to wait for me in the future, remember. There's nothing you can do about it. Her child's advantage is that he's obedient, but his disadvantage is that he's too obedient. Guci nodded, I've got it. Let's go. The two of them went to the front yard, where a white-haired old man was sitting in the house drinking tea. When he saw Shi Qing, he acted as if he didn't see him. I'm old and my eyesight is blurry. I think I saw a thief. Old Chi muttered. Thief. Guci looked around and suddenly thought of something. He placed the sketchbook he was carrying on the wooden table next to Mr. Chi. When he saw Shi Qing's silence, he vaguely guessed that the manuscript Shi Qing gave him was most likely taken from here. Stop joking. Didn't I greet you that day? I was just helping you tidy up some useless things. Your drawing table is such a mess. Shi Qing smiled and sat on the chair opposite Mr. Chi. With old Chi standing next to him for comparison, Guci looked at Shi Qing and suddenly felt that Shi Qing looked a lot younger, like a young girl in her prime. It's rare that Chairman Shi has a child of this age around him. Old Chi pushed 2 empty teacups over. Thanks. Guci poured a cup of tea for Shi Qing, and then poured one for himself. He spent the rest of the time listening to Shi Qing and Old Chi chatting. Old Chi was talking to Shi Qing about work, and he couldn't get a word in. He only discovered 2 things. One was that Shi Qing might be middle-aged himself, so he got along well with older people. The other was that the tea tasted very good. But after a while he could not stand to stay any longer. It was not because he had no patience, but because Shi Qing had just said that the manuscript he would give him was picked up from Mr. Chi's studio. He thought that perhaps he could gain something by walking around here. Even if he could not take it away, he could take a closer look and learn from it. He would definitely be able to remember it. So while the two were chatting, Guci gently tugged at the corner of Shi Qing's clothes and whispered, I want to take a walk. Even though he spoke very quietly, Mr. Chi next to him seemed to have heard it. Shi Qing chuckled and looked at Guci. I said you were a child and you really are a child. You will leave soon. Guci ==. At this time, the sound of running was heard outside, and a little boy ran in with drawing paper. It was the little boy that Guci had seen before. Grandpa, take a look. The little boy handed the drawing paper to Mr. Chi and asked hurriedly, how is it? Shi Qing leaned over to take a look and was greatly shocked. As expected of Mr. Chi's grandson, he draws well. She could see that the painting was of trees and mountains, and it looked very realistic. But Mr. Chi just snorted coldly, what a fart. Guci took a curious look, then understood something and smiled at the little boy with a hint of pride in his smile. As he expected, the next moment the little boy was spanked on the butt by old Chi. Ouch! Why did Grandpa hit me? The little boy covered his butt with one hand. I didn't say I drew the first picture. I am more wrong than Doi. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading. You still know this. I've told you so many times not to trace, and you still dare to trace my manuscript. Mr. Chi said with a serious face. Shi Qing was watching this scene of educating children and eating the melon with great relish. He did not expect that the painting he drew could also be seen through. The little boy chuckled and said, you are wrong. I am not copying your manuscript. The little boy took out another piece of drawing paper, which was the one Guci had drawn before. There were some other drawings next to it and on the other side, but when Mr. Chi took it and looked at it, he saw Guci's drawing as well. Who drew this? Mr. Chi put on his reading glasses. The little boy pointed at Guci and said, it's him. Oh. Shi Qing also leaned over to take a closer look. Did my Guci draw this? Not bad. More than good. Old Chi looked at the landscape and trees painted in the corner, then looked at Guci who was standing there in a daze, and said to Shi Qing enthusiastically, you and this kid should stay for dinner tonight. I'll treat you. Seeing that it was hard to refuse such a kind offer, Shi Qing nodded and agreed, then my nephew and I will have a meal at your place. During this morning, apart from the meal time, old Chi didn't say anything. The rest of the time he just talked with Guci about Chinese painting. Now it was Shi Qing who couldn't get a word in. He could only take a walk in the yard to digest his food, fiddling with the flowers raised by old Chi, and looking in the direction of Guci from time to time. It felt like a parent waiting for his child. I'm really getting old. Shi Qing muttered to himself. I don't know how long I waited, but finally I saw Guci come out. Did you enjoy the chat? Shi Qing asked. Guci nodded. Mr. Chi taught me a lot, and told me to come visit him often when I'm free, and asked me to paint with Xiao Miao. He wants you to paint with his grandson. Shi Qing couldn't help but smile. It seems that Mr. Qi really appreciates you and wants to teach you real skills. If it weren't for my aunt bringing me here, I would hardly have had the chance. Thank you, aunt. Guci thanked him sincerely. To him, helping Shi Qing take care of Wan Wan was just a small matter, but Shi Qing bringing him to see the seniors was an extremely rare thing. Although Shi Qing was here to thank him, this thank you gift far exceeded what he had done. Shi Qing touched Guci's hair, enjoying it as if he was stroking a big dog's fur. Be good. She took Guci's shoulder and said, "It's lunchtime now. If you want to thank me, please accompany me to have lunch. I still have to work in the afternoon." She rarely felt bored with work, but at this moment she even felt like skipping work. She attributed this to the fact that she had taken half a day off yesterday. Chapter 27 First Heart-to-Heart Conversation. The two did not take a car. Shi Qing took Guci on foot along the street. The buildings on both sides were quaint, bearing the traces of time. There seemed to be such a place in every city, which could calm people's hearts. By the way, you are going to graduate next year. Do you have any plans? Continue studying or go to a company for training? Shi Qing asked tentatively. Guci shook his head and told everyone that he had obtained his certificate and decided to work as an art teacher in a kindergarten near the clinic. Isn't painting your dream? With your talent and ability, do you want to be an art teacher in a kindergarten? To be honest, Shi Qing was a little confused. She thought Guci would continue studying and go higher and further in the art field, but she didn't know that Guci would make such a decision. Although she had heard from her elder brother and sister-in-law that they would support all the decisions of Guci, even she felt that this decision was a waste of his talent. Painting is indeed what I pursue. I have my ideal, but so do my parents. Moreover, in my opinion, the road they have taken is more bumpy and difficult than mine. For more than 20 years, they have paid so much along the way, from discovering my talent when I was young and buying me paper and pens to supporting me in studying painting with all my strength. I have witnessed with my own eyes that they have worked harder to maintain the operation of the clinic for my ideal. They never let me help in the medicine garden and the clinic, and never asked me to visit them. They just let me concentrate on painting and studying. Guci said, looking down at his hands, when my family was in the most difficult time, every time I sat in the school's studio to paint, as long as I saw my intact hands that were only stained with paint, I would think of my parents' hands that were weathered and sometimes covered with wounds covered with mud. I have been on the road to my ideal for more than 20 years. I have achieved some insignificant things, but I have no regrets. I can say that I have enjoyed my life to the fullest. Now, I also want to contribute to my parents' pursuit. I have thought about it for a long time. Hearing this, Shi Qing looked at Guci and didn't speak for a long time. Guci breathed a sigh of relief and added, "Of course, even if I become a teacher to help my family run the clinic, I will not give up the path of painting easily." Shi Qing calmed the throbbing in his heart, and with his gentle eyes filled with relief, he looked at Guci quietly and said with a smile, "In the future, I will also unconditionally support all your decisions like my elder brother and his wife did." Of course. Guci also looked at Shi Qing, "My parents treat you as a family member, and I will also treat you as a family member, like my own aunt." Family? Shi Qing couldn't help but be stunned. His thoughts were like dead vines trapped in autumn and entangled around the wall. He was looking forward to the warm spring, but he was in the bleak autumn, unable to break out of the cycle day after day. He was always bitter and powerless. Guci followed Shi Qing's gaze and looked at the dry plants in the corner. He remained silent, not knowing what he was thinking. After a moment, he asked, "Why did you choose to work in the film and television industry? Is it because you like it like me?" Shi Qing came back to his senses and sighed. "I guess so." She laughed self-deprecatingly. "When I was little, I always heard my classmates talk about going to the city with their parents to watch movies. After all, I was young, and as time went by, I also wanted to watch one. But my father worked very hard to make money, so I never mentioned it. Until one time, I met my mother, whom I had only seen in photos, at the door of a cinema. There was a man and a child beside her. She denied that she was my mother, but pulled me aside and whispered to me that she didn't have time today, but as long as I was sensible, she would take me to the movies next time. After that, I would stay at the place where I had seen her every day after school, but I never saw her again." Perhaps I was too stubborn and vowed to have my own private cinema. This idea made me work hard for decades. On the first day of Shisha Films, I watched old movies alone in the private cinema that had not yet been renovated. From one day to another, I finally got over the hurdle of many years. Even though the expectations of movies when I was young had long been ground into pieces by the years, fortunately, the knot in my heart was also loosened. Shi Qing looked up at the sky in the distance. It was just like the day he let go. Do you think I'm stupid? A promise that was not kept has become a knot in my heart. Shi Qing smiled bitterly. Guci thought about it seriously and said, maybe you were not alone when you watched the movie that day. What do you mean? Shi Qing was puzzled. You seem to have forgotten why you were looking forward to movies when you were a kid. Was it because you heard about the exciting plots in the movies from your classmates? Was it because you heard about the heroic deeds of a certain hero? No matter what the reason was, everything that happened later was based on your interest in movies. Guci analyzed with reason, you are not stupid. On the contrary, you value your original intention very much. You think the movies you love are wonderful and you want to share them with your family, don't you? Shi Qing was silent for a moment, then nodded in sudden realization. Yes. She seemed to be suffering from her mother's broken promise and neglected her most important original intention. She wanted to watch a movie at that time. She was really interested in movies. Guci continued, perhaps the little you was with you in the cinema that day. She watched the hard work you put in for your passion and the achievements you made in the end. It must have been like watching an impressive hero in a movie at that time. Shi Qing remained silent for a long time, with a faint light in his eyes, and suddenly smiled. You are so good at comforting people. If anyone calls you a straight man again, I will be the first to disagree. That day, she quietly finished reading what she thought were years of regrets. In fact, the road she had walked through all these years was difficult. If it weren't for her passion, how could she have come this far? Guci, however, looked nonchalant and said casually, some people say I'm straight, but I can understand that, because I'm not someone who can comfort everyone. I have limited pleasant words in my head, and they are just right for my family.